press the...
Hey guys! How's it going?
He's Captain Foley and I'm Commander Combs. Welcome to Trekyards Mission Briefing, a weekly dose of Star Trek goodness from ships on the canon. What?
Stop.
Oh.
Stop. It's live. We're not
Oh.
filming. Hello all. And I see we have our first super chat. I want to address that.
Goodness.
Wingsaber puts in $49.99.
Oh.
I am unable to participate, but just want to put in something specifically for Stuart to put towards a better mic for his first impression videos. If it's that much of a problem, you know what? I'll just lug this damn thing upstairs every time because I just wanted to have one up there that was ready to go so I didn't have to worry about it. But you know what? I can use this really expensive mic and just lug it all over the house because it's big, it's heavy, and god
black.
damn it. Thank you, though. I appreciate the super chat for sure. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. Will this episode contain nudity? It does. Thank you, though. I appreciate the because I was watching it on network television, and of course, the following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and nudity. And it's like, whoa, they never say nudity unless there's actually nudity in it. So there you go. Hello, this is my first super chat. Alistair Brown says,
Hey.
I've rewatched loads of them, but this is my first live one. So hey, fella mega Trek nerds. Well, we are Trek nerds, but we're called Trekyardians.
That was a great phrase you coined pretty early on.
Yeah.
No. Hiya everyone. We are back for episode 5. I think. I mean, I don't know if it's for you as well, but these episodes felt like going both slowly and quickly. Like, I'm surprised we're on 5 already, but we're only on 5 already. Does that make sense?
No. Yeah, it does.
A lot of lead up for these weeks of us talking about everything else. Oh,
the small microphone is really terrible. I need to set my phone. I'm sorry. You're fine. I won't use it anymore. I apologize. Yeah. So, are you sharing it now? Is that what you're doing? Is that why you muted yourself?
Plus, just typing in general.
Oh, okay.
Be nice to the fans, but yes, I can. Also, some painkiller. My fingers are kind of hurting a bit, but yes. What do you think my thumbnail, by the way, is? I went through and I was like, what can I do? And then I picked this image before you said it, but we both thought the exact image was just right.
Yeah. Well, it's not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking more of the one from like the back where it's yeah, and you don't even have it in your screen or your vid caps from the episode, which is a shame. I was hoping for that one. That's the one I wanted to Photoshop Titanic on the side. Well,
I'm sure we can find that at some point in the second half if it is so inclined, if the fans want. And guys, do like this video. It actually helps the algorithms. So please do. There's only 22 likes, but 112 watchers. I'll see the 50 likes, guys, in the next few minutes would be superb. And yes, I will share, you will vamp, and then we'll talk Discovery Season 2.
Yes. And this one's called Saints of Imperfection, which I figured out what that means. Because they were talking about how, at the end, how Section 31 isn't the ideal shining beacon that Christopher Pike wants it to be, but it's necessary. So they're saints. They help them with because they're Section 31 and they need to do things that...
And he's back. What, sorry?
Yay! I hate when that happens, man.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, they're saints of imperfection because they're saints. They help out. They do what needs to be done for the Federation. They helped out Discovery. Even Giorgio helped out. Gave him another 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Captain. I don't know why I said Captain. But anyway, I was reading the comment and anyway. But yeah, so they are imperfect because they're not the shining beacon that Christopher Pike needs them to be or wants them to be, but they need them to get the job done. So they do the down and dirty work. So they're imperfect, but they're saints because they're doing it for the greater good, I guess. So I think that's what this whole title is about. So Judge Joker throws in £1. Thank you very much. So yeah.
And there's a comment from where is it? Someone basically says this is first live, which I thought they'd want you to read because you're that sort of man.
I did read one. Did I miss one?
I thought, or am I completely? Oh, it's Super Coops. Super Coops.
Hi guys, this is my first mega chat. Love what you guys do. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Super Coops. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully the hour earlier doesn't throw too many people off. People that expected at 5 can at least still see it live at the end anyway. We're trying out a few different time shufflings just to see how it works for everybody involved. Gets me off the thing early so I can eat and things like that as well.
I can edit episodes right after.
Yes. Judge Joker puts in another £2.
Thank you, sir.
Will this review also contain violence and nudity? It might contain violence. Me and Samuel kind of went to blows a little bit verbally when we were filming our.
See, I edited that. I edited that. And I disagree. I just rewatched it. There's like 2 bits only, and they're super minimal.
I was so mad. I was so mad at one point. It's like, ugh.
Yes, one point you were, but like the first 30 minutes were absolutely fine. And it's just right at the end, and it's like I was watching it thinking that, and it's like, oh, it's fine. And then it isn't fine. But it's like it's fine. The rest of it. It's like 1 bit.
We don't always agree sometimes, but that's okay. And so I don't think there will be any violence, no, and definitely no nudity. At least not from either myself or Samuel.
People should super chat for not nudity. That's I think the key, the thing to learn from this.
One thing that I was thinking last night when I was watching it, and I confirmed it today. Tilly had the mole on her forehead removed since season 1, eh?
Huh.
Yeah, she did. So that's good.
Actually, I wonder because I met her. So let me see if I got that picture right up, so I can see if I met her with a mole or not.
Yeah,
but probably not.
T-Berg Sci-Fi.
Sorry.
Yeah, T-Berg Sci-Fi fan puts in 5 Canadian dollars.
Thank you.
5 Canadian bucks for people who appreciate Canadian currency. I certainly do. I call it cold hard cash because it's always cold up here in the Kazakhstan-ville area.
And I just call it food.
Tanushi.
Yep, it's gone.
Tanushi puts in €2. Section 31 ship equals Federation Bird of Prey? Question mark.
That's a pretty good comment. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, well, if someone personally commented on me, because I obviously half of 3 fan films is mine. S1 Noir. Me. Do you also have the impression that the new episodes feel like they have more content script-wise than any season 1 episodes? Yes. Season 1 is reasonably poorly written, but it does have moments of goodness and gleaming. But this season is much stronger written, even if it's maybe using a few too many tropes. And maybe some of the story beats don't quite work, but that's more the story's problem than the script's problem. Because if you've got to hit these beats, like the Tilly stuff, it had to be rushed in early episodes because we had to get here now. So it's going to suffer in some place or blow up in another place. So it's tricky. It's a really tricky balance. That's also the problem with having a massive arc. It's like you have to get from A to B. Well, what if there's not enough space for it to sort of work? You know.
Yeah. Buslatic puts in 50, whatever that is, NOK. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, I apologize. I think this episode
Norwegian krone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think this episode was very good. It reminds me of the TNG episode Realm of Fear with Barclay being attacked by transporter beam monsters.
Yeah. I mean,
I never saw that parallel, but yeah, now that you mention it, kinda. I mean, yeah. Anyway.
So start.
Adrian Marginson puts in £1. So yeah, thank you very much. Let's start.
Now I love that you said on our review this starts basically with episode 1. The last episode leads off, and I completely forgot the last episode. So where do we leave off? Because I completely forgot.
Well, we left off with Tilly being stuck in the mycelial network, and I'm freaking out. Which brings me to my very first note. With Burnham running through the hall, my first note was, where's Jet Reno? Where is the other engineer that was right beside Stamets and should still be in engineering when Burnham comes in? Did she, like, take a holiday? I don't know. It's just odd. I didn't think of it when I watched it the first time, but second time I'm like, wait a minute. Where is she? She should be in engineering at that point.
Yeah.
We don't know how much time has passed, to be honest, but I'm sure she maybe had to go to the bathroom, replenish her duct tape supply.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out, I completely forgot. I mean, I also knew that the Tilly's plot, but I completely forgot that Tig was there, that they had power problems. I mean, you know, they're at warp, and it is, I guess, though, they catch up to Spock. In the previous episode, No, in the previous episode there is a sense of time gap because they already, like, Burnham actually gives the map to the captain, and then they start warping. So I guess there's at least a couple of hours, and then the thingy happens with Tilly. I guess right as they're about to destination, so they kind of time jump in that episode, I guess.
Well, but the feeling I get from this is at the end of the other episode where they're like high and their faces all getting distorted, and they eject themselves and they realize Tilly's not there. That would prompt Burnham to run like hell, like she is at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think there's a time jump between we can now find Spock to the Tilly thing. But yeah, I'm guessing she just stepped out for a drink of water. You know, they were locked in a room together for hours, or more gum, or just more duct tape, like you said. I mean,
Monkismo, $5. Romance dialogue is worse than Dragon Age game. I'll have to take your word for that. I don't know. I don't play the Dragon Age game, so.
What romance dialogue? Oh, well, I thought the Tyler and Burnham stuff was very, like, pushed down, minimal. Because it wasn't important. It wasn't really important.
I think they were talking about Stamets and Hugh.
Oh, that's fine.
I just remember that whole conversation about the first date and taking my hand. It's like, wow, do we have time for this conversation? I don't think so, guys. Hello. It's not as bad as at the end of the episode, though.
Yeah, but that is always a problem with anything that's actually a story in an edited medium. Real time versus screen time. You know, there's a great shot. I use this because I like Stargate ships. It's a scene in Stargate, late season, in a big space battle, and there's a big flash of light on a bridge, and one of the actors says, "Shields down, next hit and we'll... Shields down, weapons are offline, next hit will take us out." And then there's...
Boom, boom, boom.
Almost. Yeah. And then dramatic shot of guy's face, and it cuts to the outside, and then they get shot 3 times with shields up, and just keep flying, and it's like, but you just said... Like, that's why I never in films do the one more shot will take us out, because you're dead. You can't... Yeah. It's too... So I think it's one of those, like, just conceits of storytelling. It's like... it's just...
Yes, exactly. Adrian Margarison, sorry, puts in £2 and says, "Nudity, LOL, a bare male butt."
It's true, there is.
Yes, there is.
And I can zoom in. If someone super chats at that point, I can zoom in. I'm not going to sell my soul for $1. So what did you think of this intro monologue? Because we started and we ended with a monologue. Because as soon as I'm getting to these little scenes, I'm thinking, oh yeah, she said stuff. Don't remember any of it.
We're defined by many things, by many titles. Officer... La 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 la. It's like I didn't enjoy the monologues personally, but that's just me. So
yeah, I didn't connect them, so I was kind of just like, okay. And then and on the bridge, it's one of those classic Discovery tropes of Burnham's the most specialist ever. She walks on the bridge and everyone looks at her like, "You're the one."
What problem did you solve now?
It's like.
Did you put the toilet roll on the proper way or the wrong way? Did you fix them all ship wide?
I just thought it was a little weird shot.
A little bit. And then Spock's shuttle, they're hot in pursuit. They catch up to it, and his weapons are armed. I mean, how many weapons does this shuttle have?
Medical shuttle. We see it later.
I know. It is a medical shuttle. So how many weapons does a medical shuttle need? Next on Trekyards.
And how many medical shuttles specifically from a mental institute? Because it's definitely a good thing to leave mental institute shuttles fully armed, so that if they ever escape, they can just shoot the building. Smart.
Yes.
Although someone just said in the comments, what's it gonna be like when Ashvok meets Culber? Oh yes, that's a scene I can't wait to see. Actually.
Well, when he walked on the bridge and Stamets was given his thing about how they're going to go in the network, Stamets stops and watches him. It's like. There should have been a line at the end when he's in sickbay, when Colbert is in sickbay, and be like, Tyler comes in or something, or maybe they'll do this in an upcoming episode. Stamets should say to him, "Can you please try to not kill this one?" I mean, you know, just saying.
We worked really hard to get it back, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Full spoiler warning here, several minutes in. So this scene was interesting. And also confusing. For me personally, it was confusing. Do you want to explain what happened? and see if we can double back, because I don't quite understand it, and if you guys understand it more, great. But talk us through
the whole events leading up to them finding it, or
well, in terms of it goes from being Spock to then it's actually Giorgio. Why is Giorgio in Spock's shuttle? Why does she? And explain the scenario, and then see what you think, and I'll double back to why I find it confusing.
Before I do that,
yes,
Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Hey man,
here 140 warned me before the Zoom. Oh. Yeah, basically they find the shuttle. It's running away from them. One life sign on board. You think it's Spock, and turns out it does some maneuvering. It actually ignites some of the nebula gas and hits the brakes, so the Discovery flies right by, much like Top Gun. And I'll hit the brakes, he'll fly right by. And then I love how they take it out with the one torpedo that's set to detonate right behind it. That was awesome. Anyway, long story short, it's Giorgio on the shuttle. She had found the shuttle first. Spock was not on board, and for some reason she decided to take it for a spin, I guess. We can assume that the Section 31 ship is nearby and cloaked or whatever. But anyway, the Section 31 ship is evidently much faster than Discovery for it to be able to catch up to the shuttle first. Although they didn't have they didn't have to stop for that red thing in the last episode. So
yeah, red things really do interfere with the primary plot.
And that's the thing too. This nebula they have the ship in front of is red. I thought it was one of the red orbs. It was really confusing. They needed to do something else, like green or purple or something. But Thomas roughly puts in $10 super chat. Thank you.
Oh wow, thanks so much. Amazing.
Wanted to thank you both for great discussion. Loving where Star Trek Discovery is going. I hope they get Lieutenant Spock on an episode before the last. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I thought I heard there were 10 episodes. Yeah, we're thinking probably. I estimated number 5. I was wrong. I thought it was going to be in this one for a second, and so my estimate's gone. I think you said episode 6 probably.
But that's a Sarah episode, so it's either going to be the end of 6 or start of 7, depending. But I think based on next, I think they're really trying to Spock bait us. I think now is an appropriate way, because especially since we haven't focused on the Red Angels nearly as much as we could have in the last 4. Really, maybe 3. Yeah. So they really are giving us that episodic. Well, obviously it's about the Tilly mini storyline, but it is kind of weird how the Spock almost irrelevant, almost. It is like you said in our review. It's the bookends to the internal story. That's the thread that keeps us going forward, but everything that happens in between is not about Spock, which actually is quite an interesting way of doing it. I think I like it because we didn't want to rush Spock, and it shouldn't also be about him necessarily. Yeah. You know?
Well, I got another super chat from White Con. I need £5. I mean, John Harrison. Sorry. John Harrison puts in £5.
I actually scrolled up to see if there was someone else, because I was like, is that really? Great.
They were standing around for a long time. That it made me mad. The ship was getting destroyed while they were doing nothing. Move and talk. Hello. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. Yes. But anyway, yeah, the shuttle thing. So Giorgio's on board, and yeah. So why were you confused?
I do love your red. I think it's absolutely intentional for them to keep showing us red imagery. I think you're 100% right. Something about it. Or the Red Angels are interfering with them and everything. They're helping to format their route and interfering with things on a galactic level.
I think it might be related to The Sixth Sense, if you watch that. M. Night Shyamalan puts not a lot, but enough red in there that it indicates, if you go back and watch it, the red indicates something weird, something that tells you about the outcome, something that is saying he's dead or whatever. That's what this seems to be doing. It's dropping these red things all throughout every episode as a tie-in. So
well, it keeps a very consistent color palette, and you're always reminded. So I absolutely think you're on the ball there. But I was confused more or less, because what it's implying is that, well, what it directly shows us, is Giorgio. I have to do such an accent, don't I? Giorgio,
yeah.
Now they I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last episode they say Spock shuttle's at warp. It's traveling away.
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's warping away. Now suddenly it's in sublight. Now it could be because it's actually trying to get into this nebula for reason, which I hope then is explored next episode, because then, whatever. But we now know that it was not Spock. So they've been tracking this shuttle since it left. They said that since it left their facility. Now,
yes,
I did actually say, I think last before that episode, that Spock didn't leave on that shuttle. I think I might have said like that wasn't actually his escape. Section 31 allowed him to escape or something. So it could have been her on that ship instead. We don't know exactly. We know how timings work with the Section 31 storyline. Could have been way before. Could have been. It's not quite parallel. So, at what point did she get on the shuttle? And then why is she still traveling in roughly the same route? And I've got still now of her route. So it's relatively the same path. Now, if it was an automatic pilot, okay, but they said Spock, it was abandoned, adrift. And then why... We know the Section 31 ship is literally right there. Instantly there. So why does it try to evade sensors and fail miserably, because Burnham knows exactly what it's doing the entire time, and then get, like... I'm assuming she wanted it kidnapped, because, you know what I mean? It's a very odd start. That, why is the shuttle... Why is she on the shuttle? Why does she still travel? You know... Is she just there to get captured? You know?
T-Berg sci-fi fan says in the nebula she could dock with the stealth ship, because if she goes in the nebula they're going to lose contact with the shuttle, remember? But that makes no sense, because the stealth ship would have had to drop her off. She would have said, hey, it's abandoned. Why are you guys going to the nebula? Wow, man. Like maybe they're playing a prank on the new girl, you know, hazing her. Yeah, we're dropping you off at this abandoned shuttle. Bye. You got to catch us.
Now, see, I do like that idea, though. If we'd seen the asteroid come out of the red nebula, that would have been brilliant. Like we see the sonar come out in Insurrection. I can buy that, but I feel like it's more likely that they beamed Giorgio onto the shuttle covertly to let them be caught. Because like you say, I mean, assumingly, who found this shuttle? Well, it was a Section 31 ship, obviously. And so they put her on this shuttle and instantly she gets found. I mean, it's just...
It was probably Giorgio's idea to stay on the shuttle and screw with Burnham, because she knew that Discovery would be the one warping in, and she got that whole speech out about, when I find Spock, your brother, who is a mass murderer or multiple murderer, she's messing with Burnham. So I don't know if it was her idea to do that. It seems like something her character would do. So, yeah, I'd buy that.
But it's a bit of a weird intro. I'm trying to read through if anyone's actually given a possible why. And why not gone to warp and I don't know, it just feels... I feel like it must have been a plant.
Yeah, that being said, I can see Spock being smart enough to never having been on the shuttle, but have a pre-programmed course set at warp and to do certain maneuvers or whatever. Spock's smart enough to certainly set that up. Or along the way, beam or fly close to a M-class planet or something and beam down.
But then you'd have noticed that on the route.
Right.
And yeah, I would prefer the idea if they'd said dialogue, we found it abandoned still at warp. And it's like, yeah, he didn't ever leave on that shuttle. He's still at the facility. You know, he's wherever or whatever. Or he was kidnapped. Although it does put into... Do you think they've captured Spock and this is all a ruse? Just to learn what they know about him? Because they leave Vok on the ship explicitly to relay the information about Spock to him. That is the reason. Maybe that's the ploy. If we make him a situation where Spock's missing, where's he going to be? And we've got him, then maybe whatever secret he has is in that location. Do you think it's a ploy? Because that certainly fits in their wheelhouse. Or am I overthinking it?
Probably overthinking it, but I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. And once we have an overarching, the whole season, we'll understand it a lot better. We better go back and rewatch, right? But we got another super chat from John Harrison of £5. Thank you. They had to shield their eyes from the explosion as well, and the stealth ship looks Romulan warbird-like.
Also, Ginger Coffee Monster, my first one of these, but I have to say there's a lot of hyper critique going on. Not sure if it's normal. I hope this would be more like After Trek. This was a good episode. Can we reflect that?
I love this episode. I really enjoyed this episode, yes. But we do break down scene by scene and talk of the good and the bad. So, welcome to the live. We're not super critical here. I'm sure most people that are regular followers in the chat will tell you that. We do like to look at all aspects of it and really have a good discussion, though. So
yeah, it's about you like it a lot. I like it okay. and we're just analysing. We'll get to moments we love, but would happen to be a bit we're both confused about. That's what I'm confused about, and we're discussing it because we're not just reviewing the general. We like to review the specific, but we're not bitching so much as asking questions and seeing if. And as you can see, we're trying to give a reason why. It's never been about complaining. It's about, well, it doesn't necessarily make sense. How do you make it make sense? Because it's got to make sense, hasn't it? So, yes. Yeah. And remember, do super chat, guys, if you want to ask a question, because we sort of have to stop what we're saying and listen to whatever you want to say. And do let us know what you think of the episode, and we will reflect your thoughts and opinions if you so choose.
Yeah, so anyway, Giorgio comes on board. And I love how Burnham doesn't lower her phaser, and Pike's like,
what?
Yeah, Pike's not stupid. Anyway, it's a good conversation they have anyway, walking through the halls. I love how Pike went to the academy with her. You could drink us all under the table, blah, blah, blah. But,
I love the coming on board that, everyone's being very tactical, although they thought it was Spock. But I guess he's a multi-murderer, but still, you'd think just put a force field around it, whatever. But the fact that, she's the one with a phaser up, I thought was a brilliant little moment, because obviously we, the audience, know everything. And Pike just thinks, oh, hey, Philippa, how you doing? But we're
I just kept saying, shooter.
Yeah. And we're just like, yeah, but she's Hitler. So that was nice, because again, I mean, it's just an interesting, there's a nice dimension there. Sorry.
Tanushi puts in €2 and says, Emps still has her dagger. Yes, as she would. I mean, she's from the Mirror Universe. Daggers are a standard issue. Well, she's got a dagger, yes.
Where's that?
It's on her belt.
Oh. Oh, cool. Didn't even notice that. Ha!
Yes.
Nice.
And look at her wrist thing. It almost like she has a pop-up thing for her Section 31 badge. Like, look, I'm Section 31.
That's a great dagger reference, because daggers are really inefficient at this point in timeline, but they're used to it. That's a great little reference. And a great costume, actually. I love that. Now we can see it in full detail. Yeah.
Perry Cagle puts in $5 and says, any idea if they are splitting up the season, and how many total episodes do you think? And where is cute hipster Spock at? LOL. I mean, he'll show up, but I don't think they're breaking up the season this time. And somebody had said earlier 10 episodes. I'm not sure how many episodes they actually have.
Yeah, I don't know they've announced. I could have sworn it was 13, but I feel like it would be a disservice to have anything less. Yeah, well, there's at least 9. Jonathan Frakes did the 9th episode, but they haven't even on Wikipedia. It doesn't even say when it's coming out. They're just doing it as it goes. Oh, no, 14 episodes. This isn't premiered on January 17th, and will consist of 14 episodes. That's a lot. That's 4 more. Brilliant. Awesome. And Brian McFarland asks, is Pike an asset to the show at this point, or just a cardboard prop?
Oh, he's an asset to the show, I believe. He's definitely some of the best parts of the show this season, for sure. Yeah. I don't think he's very cardboard-like at all.
No, I mean, he has lots of wonderful stoic, heroic looks, but that's because he is the heroic captain that we needed. I think just like the J.J. Abrams films, if we did a top 5 things of Discovery Season 2, Pike would be top 3, let alone top 5. I think it's fair to say for both of us. This conversation the whole way, I think, is fun. I do think classic trope of Discovery again of highlighting the people that we don't know, that they're amazing. Having Giorgio be the sharpest tool in the shed in the academy is like, really? Because now a hero's saying it. It would have been nice if she actually said, Pike, had picked something out of his record, say, or I loved you at da-da-da-da, or sorry about the Telosian incident. It would have been nice if we had a Pike compliment rather than having to compliment Giorgio again. Yeah. Small thing, but it felt a bit one-sided. Yeah. And then the black badge, the instant reveal to the black badge, or the half black badge, and he's like,
half black Trekyards badge,
which you can buy very soon. And she's like, Section 31, Special Intelligence. And he's like, oh, yes, nice, cool.
And the next scene, she's shoving it in a little pocket. It's like she's always got it there, just ready to whip out. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but I do love the last line before they get out of the turbolift, though. The innocent don't run. She said, because they were asking Giorgio while she was running from Discovery, the innocent don't run, and Giorgio says exactly. I just love that because it says a lot about the character. It was very well done, and I wonder if Pike kind of perked up a bit because as soon as she says that, it cuts to the scene of the doors opening. So could have been like a second delay there. So,
and not to skip ahead too much, but I do appreciate that Pike knows she's not her real quick. He's smart. He gets it because she's not giving him the cues of a friend. You can sort of see that, but I like that he's not dim-witted. And I realize I actually have notes for this as well, but they start pretty much at this next scene. So, phew. The only one I had was a Class 5 torpedo. Torpedoes now missiles, though, because it wasn't like a torpedo. But that's okay.
Oh, it's a torpedo with a proximity fuse kind of thing set to detonate at a certain distance from the ship. But
yeah. So then we meet Leland.
Yes. And I hate this reference right away. Last time I saw you, you were up to your ass in alligators on Cestus 3. Cestus 3 is where the Gorn incident happened. So is the reference to alligators referring to the Gorn or some kind of snide way to do that? Or there's just a lot of alligators on Cestus 3 or alligator-type monsters. I don't know, but there shouldn't be any Gorn there because the arena, it was just set there by the Metrons. So...
yeah, I knew that it was something, obviously, but I didn't know what it was, so thank you for illuminating that.
There's another reference later that's...
Yeah. But this man I both like and I'm intrigued, you know? He seems so normal. You know? Like we are okay, our experience of Section 31 officers is minimal to say the least. But although he's playing to the front, I think we've got a video about Section 31 coming out, you know, probably on Sunday, guys. So I don't feel having the same long conversation again because we did have quite a long one this afternoon about, you know, it's not a secret right now. It's out in the open. People know about it, and it's probably not as like, you know what I mean. The front of it, the knowledge of it, is not in the same full devious way that we know it. So therefore, while he has to play a part of who he really is, he has to tell, you know, he has to be more Pike's friend than this Sloane type character.
Yeah. Perry Cagle puts in $2 and says, "Did STO say how Pike was injured in the menagerie?" Not STO, but in the menagerie they explain it. He was rescuing cadets from a plasma fire aboard one of the ships. So, yeah, and we've talked about that too. That's another video on its own, basically, talking about the idea that it could be possible that Pike gets injured due to a Section 31 mission because he gets entangled with them because of his friend and stuff. So, very interesting.
Yes. And I've got a problem with Giorgio eating an apple because this feels like it's the most unnecessary thing, and it's the classic Kurtzman. Hey Kirk, eat an apple because you're a dick. Giorgio, eat an apple because you're a bitch. It's like, just. It's a trope that that Bad Robot team use, and I don't like it. It's stupid.
Well, I just think back to Cinema Sins.
Yes.
Every time anyone eats an apple, they're just an asshole.
It doesn't. I mean, just stop. It doesn't. No, just shows bad direction in my opinion. Bad direction. But that's just me. Now, there are some notes I had about this actual scene. Do you have any notes on the scene? Because it's a dense scene.
A few. I love how Burnham's about to speak up and Pike, like, shuts her down with just a hand wave. I love that. He's like, just chill out for a second.
I actually know this guy. You don't. Let me deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, you've always been more comfortable in the gray areas as opposed to good or bad. You've always kind of done what you needed to do to get the job done. So it's good that they know each other well enough. And he even says, if I didn't know you any better, I'd consider that a threat. He goes, you know me pretty well, Christopher.
What did that mean, though?
Basically, I'm threatening you.
Yeah.
If you step on our toes and get in our way, we're going to do what we need to do. I thought that was well played. This was a good scene, well written. And,
apart from Giorgio. Take her out of it, but she wasn't really in it. But that undermined it. Question, though. The whole grey area, you would like to work in the grey. Would you consider Captain James T. Kirk someone that also likes to work in the grey, in a similar, not as extreme, but
Darker shades of gray, no, lighter shades of gray, because he's more on the good side.
Yes.
So, not towards the black. But
he does interfere with Prime Directive, he does do all these things.
And he needs to do what he needs to do until he hears back from Starfleet Command, who usually agrees with him. But he, with the time lag there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Kirk's there.
Because I just felt like always more comfortable in the grey areas. Is surely that's him saying you were never the best Starfleet officer. You know what I mean? Starfleet's so good, but if there are people like Kirk that we appreciate, who that grey is a big spectrum. Is that an okay statement, or is it a bit more like a saying you're always a bit? What do you think? Because I kind of is intrigued by that line.
I would agree with you. Yeah, and the fact that they know each other really is good, because Pike can keep his guard up because he knows what this guy's capable of.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So, yeah. Will Serby puts in £5.
Thank you.
What do you think about the idea that this current Section 31 is a public front and something will happen to make them become more secret? That's exactly... Watch our video on Section 31 that's coming out probably Sunday. We have that discussion. Yeah.
How did you steal Stuart's point from 3 hours ago? Jeez. Are you looking at our track records? Yes. Stuart said pretty much for
maybe Will is Section 31. He's eavesdropping in on our recording session earlier. We'll talk about that in that episode. Just watch that one, yeah.
Yes. So I think... Oh, yeah. Track and suspected murderer. My question was, why is Section 31 doing that? I imagine there aren't that many murderers, but by the same token, they had to tell these people that Spock had dreamt of the Red Angels. I'm assuming they did already know that, but why would this covert ops track after a random Spock lieutenant murderer? It doesn't seem in their wheelhouse.
It's the same. I think it goes back to the last episode with number 1, where they talk about it being a class 1 investigation or whatever, and Pike says, field officers don't usually get that kind of scrutiny, and that's why number 1 is looking into it, because there's something shady going on here. And I think the murder of the doctors at the asylum was Section 31. Yeah. And there's a bigger game going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, and that's what's going on. That's my interpretation.
It was just interesting that no one played that. I think in these sorts of scenes, everyone has to play their role rather than how they really mean. I think that was part of the game of chess of you have to say this, and I have to say this, and you have to say this. Because it's deeper espionage stuff.
Yeah. I got another super chat of 400 rubles.
Thank you. Awesome. Back again, sir.
Tyler is the worst candidate for a liaison if Section 31 is concerned with Spock because of his previous history. He is, however, the best one if Section 31 is actually concerned with Discovery. Ooh. Yes? Yeah, I would agree with that. And they know that he has relationships with people on Discovery. They might know about his relationship with Burnham. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that soon when he comes on board. But this is the scene, where they find out that they're getting a liaison.
He is a interesting weird choice. I love this. And there's so many lines I loved in this episode, and I wrote a few of them down. While I don't like the episode as a whole that much, there are always lives at stake. That's what keeps us employed, because there's lives at stake. It's like, yes, we're peacekeepers, we're explorers, but we go save people. Any distress call, there are lives at stake. We just had a war, lives at stake. I mean, that is the day to day, lives at stake. Although keep us employed, we're not actually employed. But I just thought it was a fun line. It's like, yes, obviously. So I like that.
Yeah. Good scene. Anything else you need to say about this scene?
No, am I still rendering? Oh, I am still rendering. Oops. My whole computer froze. I'm like, why did it freeze? Because I'm rendering. Sorry. No, but the next one I do.
Yeah, me too. I'll just start. The next one. Hello.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi.
We got another super chat. Captain Ron Phillips puts in $2.
Thank you.
Pick behind Pike looks like Castle from the Cage. Could very well be.
I thought that, but I looked. I'm on the stream now. I don't think it is. I think it's just a nice formation. That would have been a cool reference, but although... Well, I guess Cage was before this.
Yes. But 2 or 3 years, so...
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, the next scene is Burnham and Giorgio walking through the hallway, and she's like, "Why did you join Section 31? They have eyes upon eyes upon eyes," which is a great line because it's true. And great conversation, and it ends up with, if you lay hands on my brother, you'll do what? And it's just a beautiful conversation. Really, plus we find out her full name, which I didn't write down, but Burnham finds out that Section 31, or at least Leland, is well aware of who Giorgio is. So it's not like a surprise to them. So,
but we knew that in the deleted scene anyway.
Yes.
And it must have been, you can't... These are the people, Section 31, so you can't imagine. This scene I both liked and didn't like, because in watching it, the absolute cavalier attitude is astounding. She says everything full volume in front of multiple crew. And there's a lot of crew on working. There's several people in earshot at any given time. And yet she says, I am this person, da-da-da. Like, all these different bits of information, and no one seems worried. Like, it's the worst conversation to have in the middle of a corridor. Do you really know who you really are? The Empress from the Mirror Universe! The evil Empress! And everyone's like, what? It's a really weird conversation to have, and they put so many extras in the scene that we've got shot up now. It's just like, oh my goodness. So I was very out of place for that, because someone must have overheard. You kidding?
Yeah.
But I did like the butting heads, although they've got very odd dynamic, these two actors. It's because Giorgio's not particularly threatening, but she's kind of trying to be, but not quite. And they are obviously softening her as a character, because this is not how she played her in season 1. But considering what her life has now become, I can sort of see why. But
yeah, she makes the point of saying to Burnham, "You're the one that dragged me to this dismal reality. You have no right to be surprised here." That was a really great line. So
and the eyes was great, because it's true. Like, this is the thing. Yeah. But again, it shows that Burnham though knows so much about Section 31. She's not an important officer. You know what I mean? She was a I guess Discovery as well, but before that, I mean, she didn't know what the black badges were when they saw them in season 1. I didn't get the sense. So random science officer mutineer on Discovery, and she's been told about Section 31, as everyone knows. So again, the amount that she knows implies it's so not secret, and it obviously isn't. That
ties into the next super chat of 300 rubles.
Thank you, sir. Again,
how the hell Burnham is so aware of Section 31? She's not even a captain.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, even Tyler knew about them as well. I mean, there's sort of reasons for everyone, but it's definitely the point that it's just not a secret. It might be maybe like a need to know, but it was very much,
Yeah. The next scene is down engineering. We find out that Stamets is working hard to find Tilly, get her back.
Yes.
And this is where we find out about the law of conservation of mass. Nothing is ever destroyed. It just changes its form.
And that's quite important later on. They call back to that very quickly.
Yeah. Also find out that the Coon is basically an organic transporter. There's no sign of any human remains in there, which means Tilly isn't still in there or just digested or anything. She was basically transported out. Tunushi puts in €2 and says Tyler could always taunt Giorgio about her taste. I'm confused.
Me too. Sorry. But yes. Thank you. I did like this being a transporter. That I thought was really interesting. I mean, we've talked about this in our sub-reviews. But these are creatures that live in a dimension that is outside of time and space and realities. It connects the entire cosmos. So the fact that with a single spore, a single entity, they can become...
I get it. Vok 8 Captain Giorgio.
Nice. Hold on. Gross. But I've never talked about that.
All he needs to do when he's talking to Giorgio to Intimidator is just take his badge off and start picking his teeth with it. Yeah.
Anyway, so they're really advanced in terms of galactic evolution scale, although they're already it's a different part of the universe. It's not like the same universe. And they mention that later on. Nothing in our universe can do it. Well, in our universe they can. So a single spore can become a parasite, use the matter of Tilly, because they say nothing's ever destroyed, use the matter of Tilly to create this on her arm, and then create a full, over life-size, interdimensional spore transporter. That's amazing. It was a fun concept, although it is just, it shows how amazingly cool they are, and yet later on they're so dumb. So it's a weird paradigm of how woo, and yet how
yeah,
It's
a great description. It's just awesome.
And last thing on that, I did think though that they say there's nothing of her remaining. Really, no skin follicles, no hair. It beamed 100% of all of her. I'm pretty sure she would have left some skin cells they would pick up. It's very weird to say all of the cells are gone.
No, I think because it's a different biological material, that it just anything that's not its unique organic properties went with her. So yeah, it would make sense that everything went.
Yep, you sold me. You got me there.
Yeah. John Harrison puts in 2 pounds. Maybe
yeah.
Section 32 took over Section 31 to hide.
Mention that
we actually make a Section 32 mention earlier in our other video. But anyway. And here we find Tilly with May in the mycelial network. And Tilly gets burned by the little blue speck things, the life forms that are there.
Yes.
It burns.
Precious little life forms.
Why burn me? But anyway, we find out that May needs help to restore it used to be beautiful. It used to be a paradise, this mycelial network, and now it's this because there's a monster running around causing havoc. So she needs Tilly's help to kill a monster. And Tilly's like, no, I hate you. And then once she finds out that May needs her help to save her species, Tilly's like, oh, all right, how can I help? So Tilly being Tilly. And got to say, Mary Wiseman did a fantastic job in this episode. Her acting was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I will say the visual effects on being in this plane is excellent. Really, it was a fully realized visual world. And as someone who does basic visual effects, creating a unique flair. I mean, we've seen this in Avatar. There's a very similar visual, but this is still unique. It's a good job, and it was still different to what Stamets was in season 1, The Forest. It was still a different vibe. That was more spore because it was figment. It was mind over matter. This is matter inside of, and it's a different feel. It's more corporeal with a physical tree and a physical rock and a physical branch rather than a spore induced. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed the visual context, and the green screen's excellent. I mean, this is all just bullshit.
Yeah,
but it's so. I mean, it's a little bit blurry. That's the only problem with it. But it's really, really beautiful. I'll absolutely give them that.
Yeah. Next scene is great.
Oh yeah, and the only thing I thought was a very kind of a quick turn to help, going from I'll never hate you, I'll never help, I hate you, I'll internalize that for eons to yes, but it's killing my species, and she's like, okay, I'll help. So you needed one more level of back and forth because it just seems.
Well, that's where she says, "You promised me you'll get me back to Discovery."
No, that's later. That's when they see Discovery because it's in between. But that is the next conversation. That's why I said in our earlier review that they should have mentioned that here because that would have been
that seems like the next step. Promise me you'll help me get back to my reality, then I'll help you with yours.
And then it's fine.
Instead of
So
I agree.
Small thing, but I guess they just wanted to pause a little bit of dialogue.
The next scene I love is back on Discovery, where Pike and Burnham are gonna. Their liaison has arrived, and it's Tyler. And the conversation that Pike has with Burnham here is fantastic. Mm-hmm. There's something going on with the phaser and Giorgio and Tyler. What's going on? And she's like, that's a conversation that we need. That's a longer conversation we need to have at a better time, or until a more appropriate time. And just how Pike's like, don't make me chase you for the information. So Pike wants to get filled in, and I just love the way he handled the situation. Give her space, do what she needs to do, but kind of very stern, like, I don't want to have to chase you for that information. It's like when you have kids, and you're like, I don't want to have to chase you to do the chores.
Yeah.
You know, just do them. We got another super chat of 150 rubles.
Thank you.
Not section 32. It's the parent organization, Article 14. Yeah. Well, we talk about that too.
No, this was a great scene because it shows how much more of an actor Anson Mount is, that he can put so much father characteristics, because you're right, like a parent, but yet respect, control. Like, he is in control of this conversation, even if he's letting...
He doesn't know anything that's going on.
yeah. He's letting Burnham make the choice because he trusts her, but has made her agree to tell him. So it's a wonderful little scene. And yeah, this is how Burnham should never be the bestest. This is a good balance. Like, I know better as captain, but I can trust you because you'll trust me when the time is right. That is a sort of good dynamic I really like. And I like how, the clear cut...
Just got to cut you off real quick. Josh Godey, his Trekyards no longer doing a pre-recorded short review. We are. It uploaded, took super long this time, so it uploaded right before this one we started this. So we're deciding we're going to release it afterwards instead of confusing everybody. So yes, there's still going to be a thing before the lives, but it just YouTube was being YouTube. So
and also we started an hour earlier than we normally do, so the time that would have been up, would have been up, but we started now. So it's there, it's done, it's ready. I could press a button now, but we're in a live review. Thank you. Good thing to answer. No, I liked how this clear-cut, very strong captain says, this man's a murderer. She's like, no, Vox a murderer. Interesting distinction there, Burnham. Like, it's a nice little, like, consequence, although then I thought, well, Spock's a murderer, and he's a fugitive, and this guy's a murderer, and he's a Section 31 liaison to the Klingon Empire. And just like, scales here, guys, scales.
Yeah, and Pike says there, too, even if I could see my way to make that distinction, that was great. Frank Black puts in $10 with no comment. Thank you very much, Frank. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, great scene. And again, Anson is just really doing good. Really, really doing good. And then we get Vox, and look at that hair. Look at the screen cap I got. That flowing lock.
Cut your hair. He looks like he just came from the homeless shelter. I guess it's true. He doesn't have a home. He doesn't have his home on Earth. He doesn't have his home on Kronos. Or Kronos now. Kronos. I love how he says that. Instead of Kronos, it's Kronos. Like, stop. Just stop. I know you're trying to show that it's like a regional dialect or something, or a house dialect, but no, just stop it. That annoyed me to no end.
Just go back to TNG. Look at Gowron, the head of the Global High Council. Kronos. You take that. You say it. You don't go, Kronos. No, you don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. And can I just say, Stuart, we have 357 people watching.
Wow.
That is amazing. So thank you,
incredible.
Everyone.
Thank you, guys.
I'm having a lot of fun discussing this. This is nice. I love the breakdown because we do get to talk about all the best little bits, all the worst little bits, have a real discussion. It's really like, yeah, I like this. I do like his uniform. I don't know why, but I dig his uniform.
Yeah, but they should change him into a Discovery uniform so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb,
Yeah, he's had that enough, don't you think? As being the only survivor, no one's talked to him. Then the Klingon guy that everyone hates, and now this just like can't catch a break, can he? This secret agent man, terrible.
This is where we find out too that Non, the engineer that came over with Pike initially, is now a security or a chief of security on Discovery. Yeah. So they made a point of saying she's an engineer when she first came over with the red uniform on, not the chief engineer, but an engineer. And now she's head of security. I mean, it's fine to change career paths, I guess. But is she going to stay on Discovery when Pike leaves? Did she transfer to Discovery full time? I don't have a problem with that. I really like her character so far. So that's cool. But
that is a wonderful catch. Huh.
Yeah. Because it surprised me. Because somebody in our last live said, no, she's security. And I'm like, I corrected them and said, no, she's an engineer. And then this one, it's like, oh, there's a new chief of security. And I'm like, well, damn it. Now I just sound like an idiot in my last live addressing that guy. But she clearly was. Go back and watch it when she's first introduced, when they're walking through the corridor. My engineer and my science guy.
That's weird.
And she was gone for an episode or two before she showed up on Discovery. So maybe she got retrained or something. Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. That's okay. Huh. Okay, I don't know what to say to that, honestly. I think it's okay. But yeah, I like that Pike's taking precautions. It's nice to have her included. I like that we didn't play on Tyler and Burnham's relationship too much, because they theoretically haven't got one. I mean, think about what he's been, or she doesn't know what he's been through in the last few months. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, they're.
And Michael Dingham says a comm badge, a TNG comm badge. What the fuck? Well, we don't know that. We don't know that till the end of the episode. But yes,
spoilers.
And as we said earlier, as we said earlier, we do a Section 31 talk where we talk about that.
Yeah.
And you know how spies and whatever in the 1960s were using like cellular devices and things resembling iPads and stuff before the general public got them, like usually 15 to 20 years ahead of the general public before it filters down. So we'll talk about that and its intricacies a little bit later, I think.
Yes, although the short summary is that it's probably a more advanced thing, but only so far that it can do intership, but nothing like in the same complexity as the TNG one. He
probably doesn't have a built-in universal translator or anything like the TNG ones.
Yeah, he talked to a ship out the window. You know, seconds away at shuttle, you know, so very, very close distance. And probably, honestly, it's actually, you know, miniaturizing a communicator, which is normally a flip-up that can go, you know, long distances. But if you just have a mission where you have a 4-man team, you have small communicators, you just blip and talk in a few mile radius. That's really useful for missions. So I can see it as being just a really short-range equivalent, and that's the first step. And I think I think it can work.
Yeah.
Oh, BD Nate 17, kind of like LaForge, who was the helmsman in season 1 of TNG, and all of a sudden chief engineer.
Yeah.
So back to Tilly, and this is the scene when they see this tree. This tree that's poisonous and deadly, the bark, inside of a interdimensional realm where spores are living creatures, and there's a tree here. Because you know how in the Q continuum you can't visualize it, so we had to create this situation. Is this literally what we're seeing, or is this just what our minds can process, what they're giving us the visual of?
That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer to that. But I mean, it's not unprecedented. There's things in our world that can kill us that live just outside our houses. So, you know.
I'm in a trans-dimensional realm that spans the entire cosmos and is all of time. I find it weird that there's a tree, a real tree, and like it must be something it must be a translation, but then they walk into it from it's a bit weird. Although at least they set up the bark. I appreciate that
as being a lethal toxin.
Although, as I say in our review, I bet you Brian Fuller, who created a lot of this stuff, not as it's seen in season 1, but the Bible, the original Bible before it was changed, he would be disappointed in the show for really changing completely. Yeah, well, yes, his vision, but also just the entire spore stuff. Just completely. This is not what he would have envisioned or approved of. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just that this is not where the setup was going.
Yeah. Next scene is the explanation of how he's going to spore in, half spore, and whatever.
Spore.
And this is where Ash shows up on the bridge and walks by, and he's kind of pauses for a second, which is great. But then when he says he's going to be going in, and of course Burnham has to pipe up, you aren't doing this alone. I'm like, really, Burnham? Do you have to be on every away mission? Do you have to be like the center of attention no matter what? Can't you just take a time out and stay on the bridge once and have somebody else go on the away mission?
I thought it was sweet, but now you've said that, why isn't Saru going? He's faster, stronger, not scared anymore. He can run 100 miles in a minute. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Burnham is well-trained-ish. Why isn't Saru?
Yeah.
And Saru had not a single anything in this episode. He had not a second of screen time to himself. But, you know, whatever. But I just thought it was a bit, you know, he literally got nothing.
Yeah. That's where I also find out that the ship's going to be basically decomposed when it's there. But tritanium is not their favorite food, so it's going to take about an hour to eat through the hull. And I do love the reference here to touching the mycelial plane, as it'll twist. You'll twist around both axes of both environments, and tied right back into what happened on the Glen, where you saw the twisted, ripped up people. I thought that was a nice little nod, because I said, as he's saying that line, I looked at Sylvie and said, like on the Glen, and then he said that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that referencing canon is brilliant. You know, even their own canon for what you can do. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that, for sure. I had some little comments here. Yeah, half in, half out, a partial jump. Does that make sense?
It has to for this context. It's sci-fi. It's fine.
Because I love his line. Let's say I let you use the ship as a doorstop. That's great. That's great. I mean, lots of very teeny lines. But just the idea of what they're doing, for me, I don't think... It pushes suspension of disbelief really far. It takes the concepts too literally. Because just... You know what I mean? Like, again, this is not how it was designed in season 1. If the writers... If someone had gone back in season 1 and said to the writers' room, hey, in season 2, want to half jump into the Spore network and walk around, they'd say, you can't do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite feel natural, and it's very literal. Like, it would have made more sense to me if they'd done a full jump into the network, because we see them in the network in the end of season 1, where they're, trying to get home. That's in the network, so you can exist inside of it. Kind of like Inner Space, or the one where they get the shrunk and they're inside the bloodstream. You know, if it spored in, they'd had like a shield harmonic that could defend itself against the spore radiation. They could physically be in it. I think that would have made more sense than what doing a handbrake inside of the spore network. I just, and if you got all, it's visual over making sense.
Well, it's technobabble. It's a sci-fi contrivance, which is fine. We got 2 super chats. Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Thanks, sir.
Burnham is a xenoanthrobiologist and Tilly's friend. That's why she went on the mission. I buy that. Fine.
I buy the friend. I think that one was one of the few times that she should want to go.
And that's I think why everybody looked at her when she came back on the bridge, because her friend had just been eaten by a cocoon, and she just came back from that. So that makes sense as well. But Total Anthony puts in £1.99 and says, guys, why is there no 7 of 9 pinups on your Trekyards t-shirts? It's because 7 of 9 is a licensed character. Our pinups are just generic. Klingon, Romulan, Andorian. We've got a great artist that helps us with those. 2 great artists that help us with those. So might be a Borg of some kind sometime in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, we work not with CBS, but I've talked to them, and we've not done anything wrong so far. I want to keep it that way. Yeah, we like doing what we do. We want to keep doing what we do. We think it's important. Is it a good time to talk about... Well, I won't talk about it now, but I'll reiterate what you said a minute ago. The mycelia will attack the ship, decompose it as soon as we enter. 1 hour until they eat through the hull. So decompose and eat through the hull. Very important to talk about.
And 90 Lancaster, we're going to address that in just a second.
What is his...
He says over 79% of the hull was eaten. Next week they will say it's fine. Enterprise has some glitchy holograms and is in space dock for weeks. They don't say that 79% of the hull was eaten. What they say is... I have it written down here. Where is it? Why can't I find it? I mentioned it earlier in our other video, because we have to do a video specifically on that.
We did like 2.5 hours of filming today, guys. So we've kind of... Well, this is a very different conversation. I kind of appreciate this is a very different style of... I also wrote it down, but I can't seem to find it myself.
Oh, there. Mycelium has infiltrated 78% of the exposed hull. That means the hull that's in the mycelial network that's exposed to it, 78% of it has been infiltrated by the mycelium already, which raises a lot of questions, but like we said, we did a video on that, so stay tuned for that one.
And I do think there's a new distinction between the spore mycelium hebidibidibida that Stamets, cultivated, and the Jessup race. That not all spores are Jessups, because otherwise that sort of comment, 79%, would mean they're already completely inside the hull, everything's being eaten. We'll get into that later. I get, it must be more selective. It must just be some are life forms, most are not. Otherwise it can't work. It can't, because they use these things interchangeable, but they're not interchangeable.
Yes. Well, KG puts in $20 Canadian. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Since the USS Defiant doesn't go missing for another 10 years or so, and Giorgio knows this, is it safe to say that she's just buying time to make her next move? She knows the prime timeline future until 2268 from the database. Yep, very good point. We've kind of talked about her conniving her way back to the mirror universe somehow. Saving the Discovery would be one way, which she tends to do in this ship or in this show. There's another 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But yes, absolutely. She is aware of the history. She has seen the record tapes, and she knows a lot more than they give her credit for, I think. And that's another reason they would never recruit her for Section 31, in my opinion. But that's another story.
I completely forgot. That was mentioned a while ago, a couple of episodes ago. But yes, she actually, the timeline hasn't been changed theoretically. So she knows exactly what's going to happen for the next 10 years. Even her own role in it, because this is the same universe the Defiant came from. The Defiant changed her reality, but it always changed her reality. So therefore, yes, obviously it wouldn't have information about Section 31 in it, but she certainly can use that to get ahead and know things if she's, although
Clark Stark makes a good point.
Yeah.
That would mean she even knows about Pike becoming a paraplegic.
Well, she's not going to scroll through everything, because why not? You say that as if she's learned everything in the database. There's trillions of entries. So I can see, and she might have been Emperor for 10 years, 5 years out of those years. So no idea how much she knows.
Yeah, she wouldn't know she'd be running into Pike specifically, so she wouldn't necessarily read that specific file. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And we did argue that perhaps the reason the Mirror Universe is not more advanced than it should be, because it should be massively more advanced, 100 years more advanced, is because the Mirror Universe Defiant gets, the information gets erased. They don't learn from it. They maybe learn the basic stuff, but if you can't, really learn how something works, maybe you can't deconstruct it fully and such. So it's kind of a weird one. It's one of those weird things where Discovery doesn't quite use the canon correctly, even though it tries. But if you did that, it wouldn't line up with TOS, but they're ignoring TOS, so it's kind of a weird... Again, any prequel with less than able writers, it suffers, and Discovery suffers because of that.
Yeah.
So yes, Pike agrees this daft plan, and he calls it out for the daft it is, and it's great. And everyone runs to the side of the ship they're not going to spore in. I appreciate that, again, the engineer / security is wearing a skirt still. She's the only that era uniform character to wear a skirt.
Yes.
She's wearing a toss skirt. That's a nice little detail.
Yes.
Don't know why, but it is.
Yeah.
Although why is this Hoy mostly women? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Funny. And they're all gold as well, other than 1 silver. Anyway, and then this scene bothered me. And I'll take lead on this one. So Burnham walks into the engineering spore chamber, right? Great. And she says, let me quote, Saru modified the communicators to be able to contact the bridge.
Yeah.
They now have special filters to limit interference. Sorry, what?
Exactly. How did you know that there's going to be problems from the mycelial network? Have we tried this before, communicating through the mycelial network wall? And this was all done in what? Pretty quick time. Yeah.
I don't understand this at all, because normally, with technology, you need to realize there's a problem, design that problem, build the thing, test it based on, you know, simulations and stuff. They've never done this. They have no information about what it's going to be. They have nothing.
Yeah.
How can Saru, who is not a sport technician or even an engineer, he's a scientist who's from an, you know, how could he design a device that flawlessly communicates through a completely first try, completely new breach effect?
You know, I noticed that the first time, and I thought maybe they'll get over there and they'll try them and they'll be staticky or they won't work properly, and it's like there was some kind of failure because he didn't know, but they didn't do that. They should have just left that line out completely and just had normal communications. It would have been fine.
Because you need data to make technology. He can't guess what the...
But Brent Spiner doesn't want to come back, so you can't use data to make technology.
I like that. That's good. No, it's so ridiculous that he could possibly do that with no information. It's just, I mean, yes, they've got spore readings, but how do you test this? How would you, you know what I mean? You test it by doing it, and you go it first time. It's just such a, and you can tell it's such a reshoot. It's such like a thrown in. I walked in, hey, I did this, and this, and this. Okay, moving on then. It's such that moment. Even her face is like, I'm doing it. I'm saying this because the audience can't bitch after this. Haha. It's such a weird moment of, look what we can do. Now you can't complain. It's weird.
Yes. It's weird. This is also where Stamets says that where is it here? That the cube is the only safe place on board Discovery where it is safe to touch the mycelial network. So I like that. And later he describes it as an airlock between the dimensions. But there's an issue with that as well. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why it is. And I hope we can talk about it later on. Don't quite understand it. Although there's a line that I missed. I loved Pike's line. Starfleet is a promise. You give your life for me, I give your life for you. And no one gets left behind. Again, great line.
Yeah.
And it's a really gentle line, considering, you know?
Yes.
Again, I want to call out the good things. There's so many good lines.
There's a lot of good in this. Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't say there's any, like... Because episode 1 had some, like, way great line. There's so many, like, 8 out of 10. No, like, 10 out of 10. But a lot of 8 out of 10 lines. You know? Anyway, sorry. So I just want to... There's definitely positives here, guys. It's just, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this episode, but there's some really great little bits, but some reasonably little bits too.
Yeah.
That's good.
The next scene, the partial spore jump, is awesome. I was looking forward to it. Spin. I just thought it was hilarious.
And look at this beauty of Discovery. That's a good looking shot.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's just lit plain and simple, and it looks probably one of the best shots we've ever seen of it. How weird is that? And
it is weird.
You know what's funny? You can barely tell it's got a cutout in the saucer, and you can barely see the nacelles along.
Exactly, yeah.
That's all they did.
I noticed a few times during this episode that the camera angles they were using, or the lenses you say, makes the nacelles look so much shorter.
Yeah.
It's like they know that it looks like shit if it's too long. Anyway.
Well, we have heard things, and we know it's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But this was a beautiful little sequence, and it's just what it needed to be. This effect is wonderful. This flowing water, but it's energized water. It's a great effect. I mean, real, like, 10 out of 10. Because like I said in our review, I don't know if it makes sense, quote unquote, but how the hell do you visualize this?
Yeah.
How? And so as a visualization, it's wonderful. Really, really wonderful.
I think they did a great job. Yeah, even the ship coming into the mycelial network, like sliding in front of Tilly and May, that was cool.
Although it's funny, it was right in front of them. That's a coincidence.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Oh, although, God, there was a bit, I just reminded me. One thing I did not like, another little sciencey will burn through it moment. Stamets says, he says, they have the information on Tilly and her data signal. And he says, we'll scan the network for her. This was a few scenes earlier. And I thought, so you're going to scan a network that spans all of creation, all of time, every dimension.
You'd think it would be near the ship and their realm of space at least.
But you know,
it's still. I know what you mean.
It's such a stupid statement
It'd be easy to pick out. It'd be easy to pick out a white marble in a drawer full of black marbles.
But you've only got because
she doesn't belong in that universe.
You've only got a Windows 95 that's half broken. Like in comparison to what you need, it's such a weird. Sorry.
John Harrison puts in £2. It's like they're dipping their toe in the ocean. Yeah. Later, there's a scene that's perfect. It's you got the water, you got the ships half sinking, you got the black midnight sky or the stars. And I'm like, somebody's got to Photoshop the word Titanic on the side of that ship because it looked exactly like that scene. But anyway, this is where they decide to go on to the ship, Tilly and May. And May's like, I don't know anybody on there. I don't trust them. And she's like, well, I do. They're my family. You got to trust me. And then what are you doing with your tiny finger? The pinky promise. I thought that was a funny line. I'm sorry. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it's another good character scene. I did think it was a bit. I did not expect them to go on to Discovery. I'll be honest. And I mean, it makes sense budget wise. You don't need to be on green screen anymore. It really got cheaper feeling all of a sudden as soon as they get on board. But I was really surprised that this was the way they took the episode. I thought they would have landed on the mycelium plane, walked around a bit. You know what I mean? I did not see it being this second half.
Mm-hmm.
And just May, like so much effort and coincidence and hard work to get her to your plane, and now you're letting her walk on her own ship that's come to rescue her. It seemed very like we had to get there because we had to get there, rather than. Do you know what I mean? It seemed a bit strange. Yeah. That was such an obvious. I guess the we haven't got anything to deal with this monster. They might.
Yeah.
But then why don't you do that work out beforehand?
Another super chat, 250 rubles. Dude. Or the entire size of the network is a couple of soccer fields. Yeah.
Also true. Oh yeah.
And Ken Courtright puts in at Trekyards. I also like Tilly's line of, I think that's for me.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. They had some fun writing the character lines. I'll give them that.
So the next picture is very, very important to what comes later that we'll talk about. You can see that the engineering or the spore room is divided in half by the wall. There's half of it is the spore network. The other half is our dimension. So the airlock is the cube essentially to get between the two. Might as well mention it now. The ship sinks quite a bit.
Yes.
And yet somehow when they get back to this room later, it's exactly in the same spot.
Yeah.
I know that the front of the ship was sinking down and the back is maybe where the sport room is, but still maybe it's anchored at that spot because of the cube. I don't know, but
yeah, it is weird to make such a big deal about sinking. Actually, no, I found a shot. It's completely submerged. Like you can see it, it's completely gone. I mean, if you make such a big deal of it sinking, and yet we know exactly where that thing is, and it's just on one side of the neck, on the side that should be in the thing. And here, right here, you can see it's inside the spore network, and yet, although I guess they are at that point inside the cube, but still, they weren't 2 seconds earlier.
They weren't inside the cube. They had the whole conversation outside the cube.
No, I was going to a scene after that though.
Okay.
Like the last time we see it in the water, because this scene I've just cut to, which is much earlier. It's fine still, and the source is very much in, so a fine line of doing that one right or not, for sure. But why else is this challenging, this shot with the spore network in the ship instantly?
Why what? Sorry, I missed your question.
Oh, sorry. Why is this shot again important? Half the ship is not, half the ship is. They're in spore cube. Why else is this bit important to the problem of the whole making sense of being in the spore network and the destruction of the ship?
Oh yes, because the spores instantly start attacking the ship and start decomposing the hull, which is supposed to take about an hour, roughly. That's the estimate. I think that's what you're going for. I didn't know what you wanted me to answer there, but
well, I mean, look, we can see the spores already inside the ship. I can see them. In this one sequence, there are spores in this chamber. That's the point. So they've already physically done this. Because even if we are classifying the generic spores as non-life forms, and the next shot we got the active participant, would have been really helpful to make them green like May. That would have been really helpful. If all spores are blue, and the living entities in the spore drive network are blue, then why are the spores that are in... Why can some spores just be inside the ship when the ship goes in? But why can't the spores that are the aliens not get through the titanium of the hull and have to eat it?
I don't know. It confuses me too, but plot device.
Because this shot's half in, half out. It's a brilliant visual, but we said specifically, and we were assuming that both of us in our original review, we assumed it get in the network and the hull would hold. They'd have to leave the hull because the spores can't get in. They wouldn't be you'd be half in, but the shields would hold. It wouldn't, the armor would contain. But no, we see half the ship is in the network, half of it is actually being spore affected, and yet it's not decomposing from the inside, even though there are clearly spores inside the inside.
Yeah, and later we do see them attack Tilly. We do see the dripping up effect as well. We don't know what that is. But yeah, you would think that, sure, it takes an hour to eat through titanium. It's not their favorite thing. I get that. But inside the ship, well, first of all, you got windows, which are transparent aluminum, a different material altogether. How long does it take for that?
Yep.
Then you've got everything inside, like leather chairs, books, sheets. You think all that stuff would be annihilated by the time, if as they said, 78 or 79% of the exposed area was already compromised. The ship should be half wrecked when it comes out, basically.
Yes.
A lot of the internal stuff would be gone, but
it's a classic Voyager where it's not going to have any repercussions because of this, despite it should. This was a really good chance, and they do say that one of the engines nacelles is not functional to get them to have some thrust. When they're first inside, you would think the crystals of the coils, the basards, these are not the same titanium. Why aren't they being eroded? Why aren't they gone? Why don't we see it as it comes out, a hollowed out nacelle because they ate through the coils? That'd be brilliant. That'd be really nice, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm sorry to jump ahead, but like you said, that picture was so important to show us there are clearly spores inside the ship. There's clearly space inside the ship. It's not quite the threat they're letting us to believe, even though we see them attack the hull, and it's quite strange.
Anyway, moving along.
Yes.
Here we got Tilly and May wandering around the Upside Down from Stranger Things. And this is funny. Like, where is everybody? Oh, maybe they all died. We're coming to rescue you. Yeah, thanks for that. Or hey, thanks for that. That was beautiful. I love that.
There's some real standout fun lines. Although again, what is this stuff on the walls? Clearly, stuff has got in. Clearly, stuff is happening. It either does or doesn't get in. They're not consistent with how they're approaching this.
Yeah, the visuals were great inside. Don't get me wrong. Like the lava lamp effects of stuff going up, and that was fantastic. But it wasn't explained well because you would assume that the ship would be able to maintain its integrity and have nothing get in until that hour is up at least, and then start seeing that kind of stuff. But right away, you've got all this stuff inside the ship.
And since Tilly got in with a spore creature, why didn't, when they opened the airlock, a load of them flood in?
Sorry,
they got in.
Comment. I'm just laughing at a comment in the chat. Cody Davis, did they find Barb? Yeah, they found Barb. She was lying in one of the corridors.
Oh,
if you haven't seen Stranger Things, which Samuel hasn't watched it yet, so he doesn't get that.
Sorry.
But yeah, they walked right by Barb. Nobody cares about Barb. You should know that.
But you know what I mean? I don't think they knew exactly what they were going for in these sequences. I think it's another visual over substance. It still plays fine, but we do like the making sense,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is where Tilly also goes to the armory, grabs a Type 3 phaser. This is a Type 3 phaser. It's more powerful and generally bigger than a Type 2 or 1. That's probably why it's called a Type 3. Am I frozen? I must be frozen.
No, sorry.
Oh, you were just so still. I thought my video had cacked out. So that was a funny scene. Fall in. That's soldier talk. Forget behind me. There's some really good lines and some fun parts in this one. I really liked it. So
and Tilly was much better because it wasn't forced.
Yeah.
Not the other stuff. She was forced to be the primary. This one, it was about her. So her lines were, and she was actually more relaxed, ironically, in this episode than the other ones, which is weird, given that she was in the most threat. But yeah, although I did find it strange that the weapons locker is in the middle of 4 corridors.
Yeah, and is not locked.
I mean, I'm assuming it comes from the ceiling or something, but it's like, really?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to build another set.
And maybe there's a door on each corridor. It's just because the one door behind them is the one to the phaser range that Tyler and Lorca came out of. So it could be, and yeah, I think ceiling, but still. Anyway, I don't have a problem with that so much.
It's a little bit odd though. It's a little bit odd.
A little bit.
It's a poorly designed armory. I'll say that. Yes. But the phaser rifle thing's great. It's a nice thing. Sometimes I really like this visual. I'm sorry you're delaying the live, but when Burnham and Stamets come around the corner with their two lights.
Yep, that's exactly the picture I was on. Yeah.
I love that visual. Something about that's exactly using the stuff they've got. I don't know why I like that so much. I just call that out.
Although you got to think too, if you were an alien and you didn't know what humans were, those look like glowing eyes. They look kind of evil. I don't know. I'd be kind of terrified personally if these things came out of the darkness at me.
Well, they are assault suits, so I think that's fine in this context.
Yeah. Well, they wear them for every away mission though. So.
Yeah. Well, tactical away missions at least. Well, no, you're right. I do like the reunion, but again, it felt a little bit easy. Like from their perspective, they've barely left the spore room.
Well, that's the point. They found Tilly. They saw that she was in the armory. Why is she arming herself? Let's be prepared. And then they find her right away, and it's like, okay, quick. This is going to be an easy away mission. Let's get back. No, we can't. It's got to be complicated. It would have been nice to see them once. Like we only have an hour, and 12 minutes later they're back. Oh, okay. Let's warp on. You know, I want to see an episode like that just once. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do like you mentioned complications. There's a line about Pike saying, "Complications, we can't handle complications."
Yeah, complications are not. I forget what he said exactly, but it was a good line.
But this is the moment when you hear audibly the creature. It starts out with an unknown sort of yell, and then it does instantly become a clearly human voice. At that point, I was very much, oh, okay. And there's a line I actually missed first time round, but I really appreciated seeing the second time round when I was doing my notes. And it was, let me see. Oh yeah, the monster pursues Discovery every time it enters the network.
Where was that? When was that said?
It was straight up when so that you hear the noise. Burnham's like, behind me. We're going to tactically go towards it. He says, tell me everything about it. And she says that. And I was like, oh, I missed that first time. Because that's a really big clue.
I missed that both times then.
Yeah. Pursues Discovery every time it enters the network. So he's trying to get home. I thought it was really like, oh. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Although,
but that negates what they did in season 1, though. When Stamets was in the network and he talks to Hugh. And Hugh says, no, I can't come back with you. Blah, blah, blah. And then... You know what I mean? Like, because they had a nice conversation, and unless he hadn't started being attacked at that point.
But it was very instant for Tilly, even with a helper.
That's because these things got a taste of what it's like to attack a human. I guess I don't know. I mean, there could be reasons behind it, but I think it was just a course correction as far as their initial idea went. So.
Well, I mean, they didn't know they're going to bring him back. They wanted to. I'm assuming. You know, we can kill him if we know we're going to bring him back. You know, we can't kill the first gay love interest in Trek. That's a bit of a bad thing to do. Especially not for a really great reason.
Yeah.
And obviously that Hugh, there you go, spoiler, reveal. And guys, do let us know what you think about this via Super Chat. If you think this was a good or not reveal, let us know, because we, like I say, we'll stop whatever we're doing and talk about the Super Chats.
You know what I have to say about this picture? Dude, brush your teeth.
Yeah, I thought too.
Find a branch or find a leaf or something in the mycelial network. Rub it with scrape it off with your fingernails. Do something.
Oh, I hear.
What was he eating this whole time, by the way? Anyway, there's Hugh.
Yeah. There's one thing. I've got a couple of quick things. Can phaser rifles really work in the mycelium network? And are they going to be effective or anything?
That's a good question. I mean, if the communicators have issues, who's to say the weapons don't?
I mean, they're in an intergalactic realm of all space, all time, all dimensions. Why the hell would a phaser rifle work?
Could you fire it, it could like annihilate everything. You don't even know.
I'm glad I didn't fire
Destroy
it.
the whole universe because you stunned somebody. You know.
That's how Stamets' mirror caused the destruction of the universe. He brought a phaser and shot something. And this is another line. And this is about, I believe, the monster before they knew it was him. Oh no, they knew. Well, maybe they knew it was him. He said that Hugh started as an unknown energy, but as they were reconstructing it, yes, it was so as a monster, it was unknown energy that came into the network. They reconstructed it, and as they were doing that, they lost control over it.
Can you do me a favor and change the picture? People are freaking out about the teeth and the...
Okay. Sure, sorry.
It's just kind of creepy to be staring at.
Oh, it's an awful picture, but obviously a good picture in the same way. But yeah, so the idea is that he came into the network as I guess a data signal. They reconstructed him because that's what they do. And then because he was a conscious being, you know, broke that level of control, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah. Another super chat of 300 rubles.
Thank you.
What a surprise. Sarcasm. The real surprise was the fact that MB never mentioned Katras.
Yes.
Burnham. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no kidding, eh? Well, it's much like the Vulcan Katra. Because later, when we find out how he got to the mycelial network, Tilly's like a lightning rod. If the Futurama episode was Star Trek,
yeah,
you need to explain it to the stupid people with an allegory, like putting too much air into a balloon. So it's just a... anyway.
And guys, 373 watching, but only 116 likes. That's a travesty. Or at least 150
it is,
likes.
And our moderators aren't doing their job. They should be pushing to get likes. Come on, guys.
Well,
where's Jeff?
Jeff. Quick like.
You're fired.
And then rehired, because that'd be too harsh. So please do join, and please do like. I want to see 150 in
that should be easy
seconds. It should be easy.
It should be easy. That's way more than half of the people we got here. But everybody should at least click a like or dislike or do something. Yep. Super chat. Everybody super chat $1.
that would
yeah.
We've got some really interesting travel plans this year, guys, and that would actually make a big difference.
Jeff says he lost power. How convenient that he's now back and heard that then. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know if I'm buying it. I had to message you, ask you if you were here earlier because you were here and then you weren't gone and you were gone, and I don't know. Just saying.
Yep.
Anyway.
Although I just looked at my notes and I have one more call out as a good line, because again, I want to call out the good. Mrs. Stamets, are you ready to execute this very bold and deeply insane plan of yours? That's great.
Yes.
That's a great line.
This is where that scene that I hoped you got a screen cap of was, because I wrote it's the Titanic sinking.
Okay, let me go back. You talk about this and I'll find a new one.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. It's a cool scene.
Well, no, but you want to show it. I'll find it. You just talk about this next scene. I'll find it.
Oh, the next scene.
I got you.
So this is where we hear that the mycelium has infiltrated 78% of the exposed hull. Although everybody's been saying 79, I remember hearing 78.
It was 78. We just watched it.
Yeah, I remember hearing that twice. People are saying 79 in the chat, but
they're all typoing. It's fine. The same typo.
Yeah, this is where Burnham figures out that he's not attacking you. He's wearing the bark as armor to protect himself. So in my first reaction video, I said it was great because Burnham really didn't figure much out in this episode. She's not solving everybody's problems. It kind of happened naturally. But no, she does this here, and she also has a realization at the end as well. So you can't have a Discovery episode without Burnham saving the day. That kind of pisses me off a little bit. It just let her have a day off. Let her stay on the bridge. Have an away mission without her for once, please.
Let Saru do this mission, who's double as strong, double as fast, more capable, theoretically.
Yeah, because you didn't know what you might need in that mycelial network. You might need her. He might have had to run and grab Tilly. She might have been unconscious. She didn't have to get her back on time. And
I mean, you could not have predicted.
Fast.
You could not have predicted that she would be allowed back on the Discovery within 5 minutes of it arriving. You couldn't have predicted that. How lucky is that? Seriously.
Charles J puts in $5.
Thank you.
I wonder how Culber will be affected by being in the mycelial network. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to find out. And I'm glad he's back. I liked his character. I was really shocked when he died in the first season. And yeah, I really want Stamets to say something to Tyler like, yeah, can you try to keep this one alive, please? Because it seems like something that Stamets' character would do. I did like in season 1 where he confronted Tyler and said, "You killed a good man. Does that gut you?" You know, that was an awesome exchange. So something kind of being sarcastic and snarky from Stamets about that would be funny. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it is also interesting, and we'll get this in a minute, but he appeared as he died, not as he has been. I think that's important as well. You know, shaved and small hair, rather than how he's changed over the last like 6 months. I think that's actually important in a psychological way. I'm not too worried about the bark. I think she's just rightly used in this episode. She's never too smart. She just happens to be the one in every scene, so therefore is the one that sees things. I think all of it is reasonable to deduce. Like any one of the crew could have. So she's not like...
Yeah, but make somebody else have some of the lines.
Well, Saru got not a single line in this episode, as far as I
know.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burnham has to go over and solve everybody's problems. It's annoying. Jeff Jacobs, our moderator, puts in $5. I lost power and had to switch to emergency backup. If you scroll up, I said it first and you missed it. And I sent you a PM too, LOL. Everyone hit like. There you go. Now he's doing his job. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. Have balls and crack me up with the bottom line. What? Have balls and crack me up with the bottom line. What bottom line?
The bottom. We're going to get to the bottom in a minute. He wants the bottom. The picture of the bottom.
Oh. Cody Davis puts in $100 with no comment.
What? What, really?
Maybe it was supposed to be $1. I don't know. But $100 super chat, no comment. You can leave a comment. That'd be nice, but we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
But obviously, we're both assuming that's either a 10 or a 1 by mistake, because we've had that a couple of times. So, Cody, if that's not correct, just enjoying. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Cody, is that real? Because closure, man. If that's real, then that's great. For any special requests?
We've had mistakes like that before. If it is a mistake, all you need to do is like.
Oh,
I forget
that was real. Oh,
well, thank you very much.
That's
much appreciated.
Excessively kind, and we'll use that thoroughly to provide good content. So think of the next, that and the 50. Think of the next 3 episodes as just for you two, but everyone else can watch too, because that'd be unfair. Cody, do you have anything you want us to mention? Any? You certainly get the right to have us talk about anything specifically.
Well, let's keep going, and if he does, we'll. Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Beautiful CGI. So again, the water effect. I'm just scrolling back through the water effect. Really, really nice.
Did you find the picture yet?
No, I don't know. I looked. There wasn't a space scene between the two bits, between this space scene and the previous one. I don't know.
Judge Joker says, imagine wanting to donate $1 and accidentally donating $100. We had somebody that wanted to donate $5 and they donated $500 once. And we were like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, thank you very much. It's like, no, that was a mistake. So he had to like contact his bank and cancel the transfer and all this. It was a real hassle, but it kind of skewed our analytic numbers for a while.
And that was our first 2 weeks of lives. I got choked up because for us at that point, that was like a massive deal of support. I mean, that was like a huge amount of.
Still is.
Oh no, it is. But like we were having a really bad time that month, and it's like that would have made the month, so that I got a bit choked up. But yeah. So the next scene, the mycelium now have fully entered the bridge almost, and yet are not eating the bridge. I mean, I think the weird distinction is that the alien race eats the hull, but this is just the realm they're being pulled into, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just the realm. Nothing's got on the bridge yet. Hasn't had time to eat through the bridge walls or get up through the turbo lift. I think it's just a visual representation of the network.
Yeah, but it's a bit weird because why can't it just like, why can it stop one thing but not the other? And that's what would have been nice if it just been like shields are up and then.
Yeah. Yeah, not much into shields at all. Like they think that they'd be able to use shields to enter the mycelial network and have a little bit of buffer before the hull. But then they couldn't get Tilly on board or get off the ship. I guess I don't know.
Well, if this was a Voyager, they'd be using transphasic shield hum modulation to regulate the power conduits and successfully survive in this transdimensional realm, like they do several times.
Yeah, this is where Tyler's like, "Can we get some help?" And I love Pike's reaction. The hell kind of a communicator is that? It's just beautiful. Awesome.
I love his face. Oh, sorry.
And I do love Pike's reaction to Tyler. You know, this is my bridge.
Yes.
Shut up. You know your place. Know your role. And later, when he goes down to see if Burnham and everybody's okay, he's like, "You stay here as per liaison protocol." And Tyler's like, "Oh." I love it. I love the way Pike deals with him. He doesn't trust him. He went to be the Klingon torchbearer, for crying out loud. But he's on the ship now, so there you go. So anyway, we got the holographic chameleon cloak that the Section 31 ship has. It was an asteroid nearby, and then it decloaks. And you can tell it's a holographic because of the way it decloaks. It's got like a grid pattern to it.
I really wish we'd seen this asteroid earlier in the episode, randomly. Cause it's
yeah, I agree. It came out of nowhere. It's
literatively and figuratively, because you need a setup and a payoff, and it was a great moment, but it was out of nowhere. You know, it should have been like, because can you imagine if, right at the start, if next to Red Nebula there'd been an asteroid and this box thing had gone round the asteroid on purpose, and that was the big asteroid, and they sort of done like a vrrr, and that had been the thing. So they were like, "Oh damn, it was there from the very start." That would have been a great payoff. So it was a bit random, but as tech goes, I mean, we've talked about this independently. It's great, awesome concept. And it's not a cloaking device. That's important. It's both better and worse, but it is less advanced, sort of.
Yeah. How sad is it that the Section 31 ship is more Klingon bird of prey than the Klingon bird of prey?
Klingon aesthetic. That's so sad. Yeah.
Anyway, so this is where they have to stabilize us with the retractor beam. Oh, and this is where he steps on Tyler and says, "On my bridge, you will speak only when addressed to, Mr. Tyler." Boom, chaka. Love it. Oh, we got another $5 Canadian super chat from Austin Vieira. Thank you very much. How did Section 31 ship jump into the network? Did it piggyback the Discovery? It didn't jump into the network. It was in normal space. And it was tractoring them, holding the ship from sliding back even further into the mycelial realm. So
just jump back to the communicator for a second, because we skipped by that at the time. But yes, it's probably too advanced, and it's just a little bit, because it does make the TNG, well, the Enterprise C ones, which are over 100 years or 100, well, 80, 90 years, seem way less impressive now. It means they're actively holding tech back, but I do, like I said, I do think that it's much more a emergency super short range device. It's not the same width and breadth of technology, but it was cool to see. But you know, once you see tech, you want that tech. So now, why isn't Pike saying, "Can't we have communicators?" And he's like, "No, you got to wait 80 years." It's like, why? Oh, because they're not in the canon yet. You know what I mean? It's like you start like they're doing another retcon, another thing.
But I can buy Section 31 having more advanced tech like that.
But it shouldn't be using this, like the brazen nature of using it in front of everyone else is so absurd. You know, the secret technology is secret because it's secret. But it's another Discovery trope of, oh, the Klingons have cloak 100. And they've not even addressed that. They've not even tried to retcon discussing how they've cloaks invisibility screens 100 years earlier. I've got a cloak point later on, and now they've got just. Oh, it's weird. They can't help it.
Got a few super chats. So,
3.
Damon Nightmare puts in £2.
Thank you.
I wish Pike was, for example, Smith, so we could keep him. I do like the character. Yes.
Smith. What?
I think he's just like example John Smith, some random captain.
Oh yes, yeah. Great point. Yeah.
Not somebody that we know he's going to have to leave, right?
Yeah.
Tunushi puts in €5 and says, "Can we, as a fandom, call the Section 31 ship the Federation Bird of Prey?" I mean, if you want to, just don't say Trekyards said so. That'd be fine. You can go ahead and spread that word. Just don't say Trekyards is involved, because then we'll get a lot of hate for that, I'm sure. And we have 150 rubles super chat as well.
Thank you.
Yes, Anson Mount is a wondrous actor, and I totally agree. He is so great in this role, and he's really been helping season 2 flourish. So I'm gonna miss him if he goes.
Yeah, you can just feel the experience and the inner, like, even Lorca was interesting. He's clearly a good actor, but he was playing it so on the nose. Even his secret stuff was on the nose. I mean, the complexity and performance between the two captains. I mean, this guy is better than that actor. I mean, not even. I'm not even. You know, he shows how much of a better actor he actually is to everyone else, pretty much. Well, I would love to see, just like we have in lots of shows, the actor out of makeup. We just got that for Isaac. We had it for Red Dwarf Crichton. I'd love to see Doug Jones do a non-sorry makeup, because he's got so much expression in the face. Because he's a great actor in a very specific way. I'd love to see it, you know, without the makeup. Oh wow, 401 people watching.
I know.
Holy
it's
hell!
Amazing.
Thanks, guys. This is great.
Yeah. So this is a great conversation with Leland. You know, help us keep the ship out of.
Well, before we do that, what do you think of the whole holographic thing? You didn't see your opinion on it, because I'm sure the fans are, you know, want to know what do you think of a holographic rock disguise for this ship?
I think it's great because, as you guys know, I'm huge into Federation class dreadnoughts. I love the dreadnought design, and one of the things we uncovered in our research on that was it had holographic projectors, so it could project different. I don't know how exactly they'd work, but different ships to, you know, fuel sensors and things like that. So I think it's great, and it's totally era appropriate. It is advanced tech, but I think that a secret organization. Plus, you got to remember that the Romulans were using something similar in Enterprise with their scout ship, their flea ship, whatever the hell it was called, making it look like other ships. Except it just couldn't mask the warp signature or the power signature. Other than that, they showed up on sensors as that ship. So I think it's perfectly fine that they would have stolen this from a Romulan ship of some sort. They are a secret organization, so they could have access to that kind of stuff. I have no problem with it. I think it's great. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, certainly. I just want to actually bring that up fundamentally, because it is certain tech should, could, and would be seen. And you're right. You're really right. Enterprise, we've seen this 100 years earlier.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. Yeah, they were giving it a trade at some point, and they use it for different means, because it's such a neat thing. And I do like the fact that these guys just been watching them and waiting. You know,
observing. Yeah.
And it definitely.
Joseph Mills puts in $1 Australian. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and thanks for being a fan.
Yeah.
It does. I wish we'd set up it in the first scene, because I like it. It really adds credence to the fact that it's a plant. You know, they're here to. That they were watching. They were. It was a trick to get Giorgio on the ship to make sure that it. You know, because it
would have been cool to start it off with the asteroid and have say that the shuttle's hiding behind an asteroid, and as Discovery approached it, like booked it.
Yeah.
And then it's like establish the asteroid early on. At least show it, or at least show the shuttle duck around one, or something.
And you have a great line, a really stupid Saru line saying, "Sir, the asteroid is blocking our scans." Spock must have detected the asteroid and hid behind it. And it's like, no, it's a sensor dampening screen. It's a chip.
John Harrison puts in £2. Drone controlled by NR the Flea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we call it Flea because that's what the files in the 3D files call it.
And it looks like a flea. It looks like a flea.
And it was always called Drone, but I call that name. You've taken that from me as the in-house name. Because we have a few in-house names that aren't public until we use them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Then the conversation, and again, guys, why wasn't it Why were they holograms? Why was it the view screen? Why was it a 2D image? Come on, guys.
Because the holographic projectors for that are covered in the mycelial realm right now. Obviously. Jeez, Samuel. And this is where Pike's like issuing orders, and Leland's like, "No, I'm in control. I'm here. I'm going to do what's best for us. We're going to get you out of there. No, this is my bridge. You'll hold. It's under my command. You're going to hold until I give the order."
Yeah.
Again, let's just trump that bastard. Pike's. I don't care who you are, who you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
I have these people in my care. I need to take care of them. Screw you. Beautiful. Perfect.
I mean, you can tell that Pike he's a smart man. Obviously a smart man, and he knows there's something else here. So he's not trusting this guy that he's known for years. And I like that level of... I was not expecting that as like a... Shut up, I'm in charge. But I do think... I do think that this guy is being told to be much less Section 31-y. It's more of it's the public face of it rather than what it truly is. He doesn't act like that character should be, in my opinion. But based on what we know about those other characters, and about the tractor beam, you know, I like the tractor pods. I think they're kind of novel. I mean, what do you think? You asked me what I thought earlier on before the live, and
I thought they were odd, but they're more like a tether, I think, to focus the strength of the beam instead of spreading it out over the whole hull of the ship. Plus, with certain parts of it sinking underneath, if one goes under, they still have more. And I think it would just be a much stronger focused beam that way. They have 3 emitters on the back of the ship. They have 3 of these things. They probably have more in case one goes missing or gets damaged. But I thought it was fantastic the way they did it. I didn't expect it. When I thought they were going to, when they said they were going to tractor, I just expected a random normal tractor beam that we've seen all along. But this was great. I thought this was a very interesting tech.
And they had to design them. They had to build. You know, this is such a deliberate choice of tech. No, I absolutely agree. I think that it kind of reminisces of the NX-01s. You know, now we've got our grapplers. But yeah, a tractor beam. We know this from other Trek. It is not good for structural integrity fields. It isn't. But the whole point of this is that the ship is being eaten. It's being damaged. They say parts of the ship is structurally damaged through the episode, and so they can't risk. I mean, what that neck is big, but it's not that big. I mean, what are you going to hit the saucer and then rip the whole thing? You're going to hit the, you know what I mean? You can't risk it. If you hit the secondary hull, it's clearly not got shields on, so it is vulnerable, and the power's obviously fluctuating. If you hit the secondary hull and the saucer then goes in, and everyone dies. So I actually really like the approach, and it's not like Takuvuma's a billion beams of individual tractor beams. Like, well, okay, it's tech based, it's efficiency, but it implies a level of more advanced that we can think about, but it's still very relatable. I liked it. I was all for it. That was a long answer to I like it, but I thought it was actually a good.
Really, addition. A long answer from you to just say I like it? No,
I thought it was a good advancement of tech.
There you go. That's all you have to say. Thank you.
Aww.
Moving along. No, but that back and forth with Pike and him are really great. Now, the next scene with Hugh in the quarters, and all I wrote down for this is, do we really have time for these conversations? The ship is shaking. Things are going on. I understand you got to, get him to trust you, to trust who you are. But, damn, really? It becomes more evident later in the episode, though, when they're trying to figure out how to get Hugh back, where they're just, well, yeah, we're having a... Burnham, we need to get you over here right now. This is the last minute. Okay, we got to go. But if we did this, I hate that trope in shows because it messes with my anxiety because the ship is shaking. There's things going on. I'm like, just get in the goddamn thing and go. I say it all the time to the TV. It'd be so much easier in real life. Just grab the person and run. Don't have a goddamn conversation.
Little side note, Tim Theo, well, I'm off to the bar, but Trekyards, you're truly the best channel. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks, Tim.
Our bribes are working well. That's good.
Do you want to call that
Tim
out?
Theo puts in $1. There you go. He's bribing us.
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks because we do try. And I'm having a lot of fun talking about this episode, actually, more than I did this morning.
I'm way better than this morning, if you remember. I was very... even our other lives that we've done on these, it's kind of been tiring. This one's been very energizing and very fun to talk about. So yeah.
It's obviously a mostly positive, but there's weird things. But for the most part, they're it's unlike the episode 3 of Discovery Season 1. 6 months, why don't they do anything? It's just constant. This doesn't make sense. This is kind of like, ooh, let's have a little fun theory party. It's more that sort of weird stuff, which is nice. This is what we do. We theorize. I don't have any notes for this scene.
I don't. Do you have time for these conversations? And this is where he says, it burns everywhere they land on me. And basically we get the whole talking to May where it's like, he's not the monster. To him, you're the monsters. He's just defending himself. And that's a quick summary of this scene, essentially.
It was a very TNG style misunderstanding of aliens' realities. No one's at fault here, and I did find it a bit strange the way May was pitching, and you said this in our original review, that this episode changes expectations as it goes. it implies this creature is killing, destroying, ruining the world. No. We thought that because we heard in a previous episode, the jumps were hurting the environment. So we had that in our brain.
Mm.
All he is doing is if they attack him, they die. That's it. You know, these creatures are used to disintegrating anything to become part of their energy. But he's never attacked any of them. That's not the process. But in their context, so it just seems weird now when you break it down.
Well, I mean, if he's chasing the Discovery every time it goes through the thing, and it went through a few times when he was there, if he's running after it, let's say, he can see it, or I don't know how it works, but if he's running and there's a cloud of these little blue fairy things flying around, and he runs right through it with this armor on, he just annihilated a bunch of the things, and they'd chase him. And it would take one or two instances like that for them to be like, this guy's just murdering our people. So I can see the misunderstanding that would happen there.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's a little bit odd. But this scene was nice of Stamets. It didn't quite hit home for me. His stories didn't quite. It was a very film scene. It didn't feel real to me. It felt like a scene from a film or a show. You know? Small thing, but it didn't quite work for me. And then Hugh was nice to see. The cinematography was good. I mean, this episode's great in cinematography. It's not like overly interesting, but it's good. And then because I did rewatch this, and what actually happens is that May launches her own spores out that hit Tilly, that burn Tilly.
Oh, does she? Does she?
Like it's actually cool. It's really very, very quick. It's in 2 shots, and then grabs the gun. So she is
great shot of Tilly, by the way, with her mouth open. Just damn.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay. So it is in, obviously she wants to do this thing, but it's interesting she is also made of spores. Like, you would think that she'd be eating the ship as well, and secondary plan or.
We're 6 away from 200 like, guys. We've got brilliant. 384 people here. 6 people just hit like. Get us to 200 at least. That'd be very helpful.
200.
It's a game. It's a game.
100,
and then 250. If we can hit 250, I don't know. It'll be amazing. But anyway.
So she grabs the rifle, gets the whole spiel. Now we see the moment after.
My man, Cap. I'm still silly for Tilly. Naughty Captain. Captain, seriously? Yes, seriously. Have you met me? Hi, my name is Captain Foley. And I'm a pervert. Moving right along.
This moment, Colburn has had his neck snapped. And then an unknown amount of time later, Stamets wakes up, sees the body, and a neck snap is death. But, as after we talked, there is still a brain energy, which still stays for a little bit. That is part of the process and cooling down and such. So then there's a tear, but my guess is that's the gravity, because I don't think he was alive at that point. That seems too weird. But I guess
it does.
But I think he fell to the ground. The water's in his eye. He lifts him up, goes down. It's nice, and then he kisses him, and a thing happens. What did you think of seeing this?
I thought it was a great explanation for how it happened. However, I was worried. I was wondering whether he was alive or because the tear almost seemed like he was alive, just paralyzed because his neck was broken, even though that usually results in instant death. But it could be that he was just paralyzed as a result.
But you would think Stamets actually noticed that and get him to the doctor, and it doesn't work with the context of the scenes that we saw previously. And Tyler Vok,
it's true,
would not lead. His whole point was killing him. He's completely Vok. He's a complete killer. He would know.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd buy it. There's still residual energy in the body, and it's fine. It's a great explanation for how he got there. Actually,
my only problem is it was rather easy. Easy is a relative phrase, but
it's a small thing to me in this case. So
I just think that we know that how Stamets became the tardigrade, the spore man, is he just inject himself with an instant serum, and then he could travel the spore network, and he never had any illness because of that, except when he was pushed too far, when he did hundreds of jumps, and then he got over that. And now, just by being him, he can, through this contact with Hugh, he can spore jump Colburn's energy, his life energy, into the transdimensional matrix of the mycelium. That's a superpower. He can do it without... He didn't even know he did it. There's no repercussions to himself. That is a literal... I can... You know, if Burnham's dying, I can transmit her there. Not necessarily a good thing, but, you know, there is a way you could turn this into a, you know, treaty with the what are they called? The Jessopans, the Jessup. You know, a treaty with them... Because obviously it's not good for them to have the creature, although if you don't kill him, if you don't try to attack him, you guys won't die. It's a purely, you know, you each mess with each other. So it just seems very, you know, straightforward. This could happen again and again and again, and then you could bring them back theoretically. Not necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but you can do it. I'm hoping that Hugh is heavily mentally damaged from being brought back to life. With a brand new body.
You're hoping for this. You're such a good guy.
No, because he can be fixed down the line, but I want to see massive repercussions for being brought back to life. Well, no, being made a new body. Like, that can't be as easy as otherwise. Otherwise, it's just so unbelievably easy.
No, I disagree with you. I think it's one of those one-time kind of things that, I mean, I'm sure it's possible to do it again, but why would you even risk it? It's just...
Smedley downright says, it's the power of love. I mean, that's the thing. Lots of films these days are, because the power of love brought us together. You know, it's... I get that his love was the energy that brought him that, but there should have been one more step.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Alex Mackey puts in £5.
Hey.
Dr. Pulaski is reconstituted in the transporter using her DNA. Colbert is recovered from the same way, so he appears naked. Kind of glad Pulaski was fully clothed. Amen, brother. Amen. I can't stand Pulaski. And we got another 1,000 ruble super chat. Damn, that was the lowest point for me. They could have done a nice bittersweet story, the last goodbye, acceptance of death, and need to move forward. Instead, they pulled happily ever after a fairy tale route at the last moment. Episode or two to get him back. They could find a way somehow, but yeah, that heartbreaking moment there for a minute would have been very dramatic and very impactful. And it was. Sylvia, sitting on the couch with me, was very concerned. She loves Dr. Colbert, and when he was coming back, and when she saw his hand disappear, she's like, "Oh no!" Like it was working, and but then there's just this convenient organic transporter right beside them. So,
yeah. I also agree with you that I did think that they were going to be brave and say he's actually dead, because they didn't say that Cole was back for 5 episodes, 10 episodes. Like they just said he's back. I thought that would be such a like Ryan Johnson said, the reverse expectations. He's back to let go. I thought that actually quite sweet, because it was a lovely end. And then but that's in a few minutes. They did swap the thing. And with Pulaski for a second, I mean, the transporters can do that. It's known technology. It's known, it's matter, and there's that's very much technology 1, 2, 3 done. You know, but you don't do that most of the time because they're clones and all these things. Sorry, we skipped ahead a little bit. So, yep, that's how he's okay. The tethers, the ship is going in.
This is...
I find it funny.
This is where Giorgio buys them 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
I find it funny, though, that this, Section 31, amazing ship, presumably cream of the crop, really amazing. And as soon as they do the tractor beams in the first scene, they say, but the engines are overloading. And then a few minutes later, he says to Giorgio, the engines are overloading. All you're doing is what? Why? Your ship's crap.
It's a small ship, and it's trying to pull something out of this muck, basically, that's sucking it in. I mean, I buy that. I buy it 100%.
We shouldn't have said it the first time, though. How can they be... and it's just like...
This is where...
Fake ticking clock things. Like, oh no, we can only last a minute. Oh, give me 3 more minutes. Okay, we can only last 3 more minutes. We're almost gone. It's like, okay.
This is where Giorgio, pulls her trump card, and this is what I was afraid of all along. She's this evil empress. She's going to use Section 31 technology and knowledge to screw with people. Yeah. And she's like, what if they find, the court martials still exist in Section 31, the guy says. And she says, what about what you did 6 years ago on Deneva to the wrong ambassador? Nobody knows about that. They'd have to break my firewall. Yeah, pretty much. I obviously know about it, dumbass. So it was a great scene, but I just can't stand that woman.
Yeah, although it was interesting, that's dynamic, because he's meant to be in charge, and she put him in his place by blackmailing him. It's like, is it really a good idea?
That's what she's going to do. I've said that since day one.
But is it really
bad idea putting her in that position?
Like, he could just shoot her. Like, if I was him, I'd just shoot her. You know what I mean? It's like, is that like, she's done this once.
Yeah, she tried to kill me to take over Section 30 or the ship, so I shot her. That's all he'd have to say, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, she's an evil empress. Yeah, we buy that. Good."
But if she'll do that, blackmail him over the smallest thing of, because I want to give an order 3 minutes of time. And because blackmail is one of those weird things in movies when you can just use it again and again and again until the person gets sick of being blackmailed. You know, although it was a bit of a weird one. I wish it had just been her saying, "I have this great idea, let me do it." You know, it shows how bad a person she is. Which she is, but bit odd. But yes. like we said in our review, it's very self-fulfilling. She wants to... You know, she probably needs the spore drive ship because they're never going to be able to do another one. If Stamets is dead, that's it. Well, okay, you know, I mean, there isn't going to be another one. You know?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. I'm just trying to pull this thing back up on my screen. All right, there we go. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a stupid idea getting a part of Section 31, but whatever. Next scene is where he explains that the cube is our airlock between normal space and the network. And it's safe. Come on. And then his hand, like, disappears, and it's like, oh, damn. Which you've already kind of talked about, so.
It was a great moment, and it would have been such a nice bittersweet, because before it happens, you don't think about it, but as soon as it happens, you're like, oh, yeah, of course. Shit.
Yeah. And I didn't expect them to really fix it right away. It took a second, and then I'm like, oh, the cocoon, they could do the thing. And then they figured that out. So use a cocoon as a transporter. Burnham, and here's one of the quotes. Burnham, we're out of time. She says, understood. It's now or never, guys. And then they stand around and still have a 5-minute discussion. That's one thing that pisses me off about shows in general is when they do that. It's like, literally, we have no time left. Let's go. Or when they say we have 52 seconds and you time it and it's like 2.5 minutes. Like, really? Although a lot of times in Voyager and stuff, when they say, you know, we've got 52 seconds, they actually have 52 seconds. You can time it. Yeah. So really well done there. But
or the shield's down to 10% for 45 minutes.
Yeah. One more hit, we'll die. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, though. I didn't quite... It doesn't connect in my head. Why is the spore chamber safe?
I would imagine that's because where the active mycelial from the ship are, so they can exist in both planes. Because I don't know. That's my guess.
Because it's just a room that they pump spores into, and it keeps the spores in the room. That's it. Like, and it's got a machine in it that connects to a thing, and that's it. It's just not like he's the thing that makes it go. So I was like, well, why it didn't quite like I get it as a theoretical that it's the bit that has the spores, therefore yay, but like why?
Yeah. I buy it. It's not really a question for me. It's one of the technobabble things and it works.
Yeah, I just think if you ask the writers why, they'd say, oh, because it's where the spore tech is. It's like, why? Because the spore tech...
They can't explain it. It's not like, well...
I
don't know.
A bit odd. But yeah, very emotional, nice scene. Although we said specifically, remember, the ship's being eaten by spores, but they haven't gone in the hull for an hour. But they're eating Stamets now, Hugh, so they are in the ship. So are they in the ship or not in the ship? Because they're now eating him.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get the sense they were eating him. I thought it looked like he was deteriorating from the inside.
Oh, really?
Because, well, yeah, Stamets asked him, what are you doing?
But
I can't go with you.
But things do fly onto him, though.
I didn't see that. I just saw the red glowing from inside him and the veins popping out in his arm. And so
I think things land on him and stuff.
We got another 750 rubles. I do like her character and mystery around her. Is it all just a part of the multi-level evil plan? Or is she finally got poisoned by this vile, bubbly Chloe and happy universe? It's part of her evil plan. We'll get to that at the last scene, which we should get to soon. Because we're already 2 hours and 10 minutes in. Like, let's get this episode done.
Yep. But it's interesting how he was okay to die. It was sweet.
Yeah.
And then the weird scene with Tilly and Thingy. Don't know why they like each other necessarily. I didn't buy it. But whatever. Moving on.
Yeah.
And then they get out. And some another great visual effects. And the ship is fine. With basically no damage. Some slight carbon scoring. But very, very little. Hasn't eaten through. The windows are all fine. The deflectors are all fine. This is gonna be a year of hell, guys, where it hasn't actually damaged the ship at all, even though it would have been an hour, mostly an hour, some of an hour, and you should see massive corrosion marks. Real missed opportunity, guys. But oh well.
Yeah. And I gotta say, the one scene where Discovery is on the view screen of the Section 31 ship looks very concept arty. It looks like a Ralph McQuarrie painting almost of the ship. You can see the scarring there as well. Next scene is where Pike goes down to make sure everybody's okay. And this is where he tells Tyler, Mr. Tyler, you will stay on the bridge as per liaison protocol. And just puts him in his place.
Well, he doesn't need to respect the man because he's done nothing to earn respect. I mean, he killed people. He's a Klingon traitor. There are all the Klingons. The Klingons killed lots of his friends. I mean, why would you give him anything? You know, as far as he can tell, he's a bad man. So, you know.
Agree. And then the cocoon splits open, and we got a naked Hugh with a haircut now.
Now
that was a real mistake. I think they should have kept his grizzled appearance. Because even his teeth are pearly white. Like, it's like this is how he went into this network, which I kind of buy in a way, but I don't know. It seems odd. He comes out with a nice haircut. And
now, for a $5 super chat, I will show and zoom in to his bottom from this, this scene, as I mentioned earlier. So while all of us don't want to see that, are
you sure? It sounds like you want to see it.
Someone can be the one that donates to force that amongst the community. For $5 I will do that. It's up to you.
Oh my god!
Who will be the hero that this thing needs?
Yeah, no, that was. Anyway, we're gonna move along. Pike beams over to the Section 31 ship, and it's funny that Cornwall's there now.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, I thought I was the only one to think this because last night when I did my first reaction video, the whole time I was thinking, is that Giorgio? Is that her using her chameleon cloaky thing to like look like Cornwall? Because it doesn't make sense that Cornwall is on the Section 31 ship, and just the way she's speaking to not show it. There we go. We got €5 to not show it. Thank you, Tenoshi.
So we're now past that. Thanks, guys, for not doing it.
Yeah. But I wasn't the only one to think that, apparently, because I mentioned that in my first reaction review. I expected her to walk away and to be Giorgio. But it was just an odd choice to have Cornwall there. Like, she's been there the whole time observing this, and she wasn't on the bridge. Yeah.
I mean, let's dial back one second to kind of burn through that a little bit. Yeah, so Hugh's back. He has got this weird look. I do think he's going to be affected. I do think he's back because that's how he died. So I think that's fine to be shaved again. You have a nice view of the ships. I do think it's very strange that they let Pike be on board a super... Okay, it's not secret anymore, but this ultra cool ship.
Got 2 super chats. Gotta jump in. 350 rubles. Please don't pull Brian Fuller. By the way, blue eyes like a newborn. Colbert was literally reborn. And then Marvin R puts in €2 and says they made a new body for Hugh using the cocoon based on his ideal version of himself when he went in, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone. Oh,
that's why he's got the...
Yeah. I can hear you. I can hear you just fine now.
Yeah. So that's why he's got that appearance of when he went in. That's fine. That's fine.
But I do hope this has massive repercussions for his character and how he's shaken to the core. Because he also had to live in a, every single moment, every single day being hunted and being burned. I mean, he clearly went a bit mad. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays. But yeah, the Cornwall was very out of left field. Very, very out of left field.
Yeah.
As you say, was she there the entire time? Yes. Is she looking at Spock? I mean, you know, so you're saying that she's personally not commanding because she wasn't on the bridge a minute ago, so she's not commanding this mission. So the only context I can possibly derive from this is that she is Philippa Giorgio, who disappeared in you know, the last scene she was in. She's not in this scene anymore, and she's approaching these men to get them to work together, to get Discovery and to get him on the same page. You have this lovely little interchange between the two of them, but again, it feels much more like they put on a front of normality. You know, it's not a Section 31 discussion as much as a you know, friend moment. Well, it seemed a bit out of place, unless Cornwall is playing this game. They know they're playing this game to get you know, Pike to be on board, and he's got a very useful ship.
Yeah, I love how she said old friends that don't shake hands, and then she goes on to talk about the red orbs.
Yes.
How it's tachyon radiation. That could be time travel. It could be cloaking devices or transporters. You could both be right. You could both be wrong. Time travel opened up an interesting few thoughts in my mind. Cloaking devices as well. Have a fear the Romulans might be involved somehow.
No, third ship dropped her off. No quantum beaming. What third ship? Why is there a third ship? Why would you invent a third ship? No.
Yeah, that's just silly.
Why have her there if that? Now, I want to talk about that specifically then, the whole cloaked ship, because as soon as it's tachyon, because I've used tachyons in temporal anomaly, tachyon is always the thing. Time travel, could that be them forcing a link to the Picard show? Because if it can time travel, or it might link to the Discovery in the future. Maybe the only way to beat this thing is to let Discovery evolve over 2,000 years, and then they pick it up again, because time travel. There's some sort of link there.
Yeah, possibly.
Although it was weird they said, or by cloaking devices. It's like, you guys haven't seen cloaking devices, remember? Except the Romulan ones 100 years ago, but they're not, remember? The Klingons didn't have cloaking devices, they had invisibility screens.
And the Suliban.
But it seems so strange they're using that. They've forgotten that they were surprised by cloaking devices in the first episode. They called them visibility.
But I've given up on that. Like, it's obviously have cloaking devices for the Klingons, so I've just given up on it. This is the Discoverse after all. This is not Prime, so.
But they're not even going to bother trying to fix it, are they?
Josh Williams puts in $5. What happened to the hole in that Stamets drilled in Tilly's head from the last episode? The mycelial network must have fixed it when it took her in the cocoon. That's my answer, because they reconstituted Colbert all shaved and stuff, so why can't they fix a little bit of a hole?
They removed Tilly's mole, they fixed her head.
Yeah, they removed her hole. That's exactly right.
So nice in-universe explanation. But I did love this Section 31 scene. It felt interesting. Yeah. But again, it was so weirdly played by the actress. Not in a bad way, but it's gotta be Giorgio.
I love how she was like, you know, Section 31 can't be the squeaky clean, that you expect, Captain. And then says to the other guy, you guys have to work together, essentially. And for the meantime, your liaison is Mr. Tyler. Unless you'd prefer Giorgio. Nope. I'm like, yes. No one wants her on board.
And another line, because there's so many dense lines. Section 31 are a critical intelligence division. Nation building is not always pretty. That's interesting. But again, that's like, it's just Central Intelligence. It's not the thing we think of either before or after. So this is definitely a retconned, rebooted Section 31. Not necessarily for worse, but it's certainly just like Unfortunate Discovery said, we haven't seen the Klingons in 70 years, and we're like, really? Seriously? You're doing this to the universe? One of those weird things that they just take the carte blanche to change things as they want without really thinking about, whatever. Yeah. And then it ends with a holocall.
Yes.
Which the computer feels the need to tell her in an armory in the corridor loudly.
Yeah, which she transferred to the science lab. The science lab on a science ship.
They can do 100.
But it's probably the closest one, I would assume. And she goes in there, and there's Giorgio, and it's like, you're going to want to be paid back in spades because of this. You did us a favor, kind of thing. And Giorgio says, you're going to have to start trusting me. And then Burnham says, said the scorpion to the frog. It's much better when Chakotay said it, but and then last thing Giorgio says is have a little faith, Michael. Because I've had your life in my hands a few times. Like, you know, you're going to have to start trusting me, have a little faith. And then she leaves. It's like oddly worded at the end there. It seemed very out of character for the Empress. It's almost like that's Captain Giorgio for a second.
Or a reshoot to help make her lighter to be her new show.
I hope so, because I couldn't stand her in the scene she was in earlier. Every second I saw her on screen, I was just like, I can't watch a show with you as the lead. I just hate you. And not just because I'm not a fan of the actress. It's just the character was just like, oh my God. Anyway.
It was strange, the trust thing. It's like, you've not earned trust. You're not a trustful person. You know? I mean, you were more honourable than I remembered after a season 1 rewatch. To be fair, but to get to that position in the Mirror Universe is death or is kill or be killed, is deceive or die. You know, it's super, you know, whatever. And then we get this montage of people. Colburn's back, and then Pike is clearly obsessed, clearly looking at Red Angels. You know, oh yeah, the Red Angels are a thing. Remember those? I forgot. And Tilly is happy to be back and friends. And Burnham is happy that she might have found her place in the universe again, with this smiley face at the end. I guess.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So overall, a good episode, and I enjoyed it.
373 people, amazing. So I'm going to start playing through the episode again.
And don't forget, guys, after this live, we're going to be releasing the quick review, shorter review, which is out of order, but it's just because it took a while to edit it, and then uploading was taking 3 times as long, so
it was slow.
It didn't get out on time before this live, so we apologize.
And also, the live was an hour earlier. It would have been out at 9, but not out of time.
I know.
So yeah, closing sentence, and then I'll do closing sentence, and you do your score. I'll do my score. So closing sentence.
Loved it. Thought it was a fantastic episode. Felt very Star Trek to me. Quite a few aspects of it did. Some great lines, great acting, and good character development for sure. And I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10 for sure.
It's funny because I've enjoyed it more analyzing it with you than I did watching it.
That's always fun, yeah.
Always fun. For me, at the time, I was a bit bored by a lot of it. The drama, the tension, the danger was so poorly written because it didn't mean anything, and you saw it never play out, that it was building to this, and it never did anything. And as you say, the ticking clock meant absolutely nothing at any point. And the Section 31 stuff was a bit odd. So for me, it fell down a lot of tone, like, just over... It's like, it was a... Lots of pieces were good, but it was weak, just for me, weaker than some of its parts. Whereas individual bits were good, and some really, really good lines. It's one of those things where the script is clearly better, but the story was worse for me. As opposed to like season 1, some of the stories might have been better, but the scripts were way worse. So, bit weird. And yes, someone mentioned we're almost at 250 likes, so 229 likes, get 250 likes. Click that like button, people.
Yeah, if you can't super chat, just hitting like is a huge help to us. So please go ahead and do that.
And for me, I'm going to say a 5 out of 10. It was fine. It was okay. It was, again, better than season 1 because it had the better written stuff, but I just didn't quite connect to the story. But it didn't force a lot of the stuff that the problems were in season 1. And yeah, the next episode looked great. I saw the trailer and I was really intrigued by it. The one I've been most excited for. All these other episodes have always been, again, you didn't see the trailers, but have always been a look at what the next step of the story is. The Tilly story. Oh, look, she's here. Or this one is, oh, they go to Kelamar, whatever the planet is. Like, oh, that's going to be a thing. So I was pretty interesting. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the show's starting to hit its stride, I think. And we know that it usually takes a season or 2 to kind of work out the bugs in any Star Trek series, so I'm happy.
I mean, it's still like the least good Star Trek show, and it still hurts the Trek canon, and it's still not, you know what I mean? All those things are all here. That's the weird thing. We can't win. We're too positive, we're called lovers. We're too negative, we're called haters. We can't keep bitching about the wrong art design. We can't keep bitching every single week. It doesn't work. You know, we've got to appreciate on its own value.
That's why it's the Discoverse to me. I'm a fan. I'm fine to say and be on record saying I like watching Discovery. I enjoy
this season.
Yeah, I enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Each week I'm excited to watch it, and I walk away from it feeling satisfied that I've seen Star Trek. So,
and I want to see more. Season 1, I was always annoyed by massive plot holes. This season, it's like, get to next episode. What happens next? You know, the story is certainly engaging, although they very much are. Although I think this is the last episode with the original team. So next week starts the second run, the Alex Kurtzman run. So very intrigued to see.
So it might get bad. All right, thanks for warning me.
I have no idea. But we know the reshoots. I guarantee it was to add a lot of the humor. You know.
Yeah. Oh, we got another 500 ruble super chat. I'm a bit confused. This episode was much later than the Orville one, and yet I still feel that Orville is lighthearted and Discovery is too dark and gritty. Also, I'm afraid this episode will be the last good one. I hope it won't. Yeah, did you watch Orville last night, Samuel? It's really good. You'll really enjoy it this week.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to watch it on Monday when I have when I'm back. Cause I've got the weekend off. Yes. Everyone stopped comparing the franchises. Well, they're different, you know. I mean, last year we had the fun of which is better this week, Orville or Discovery. It was most time it was Orville that was better, especially in the second half. It was like most time Orville won out. This time it's tricky, and I liked certainly Discovery more than the first two Orvilles, which I thought were quite weak. Though, you know, the last Orville was really good. One before that was pretty good.
They're different creatures, though. It's hard to compare them.
Well, really. That's why it's pure just enjoyment factor. You know, which one do I enjoy more? You know, because they are different. I mean, CGI is clearly much better here, but the characters are much better in Orville. You know, they're different shows. It's kind of more like a Voyager and DS9. Orville for characters, Voyager for the effects and the ships. Ironically.
Well, yeah, Orville feels very Voyager-esque compared to Discovery's darker Deep Space Nine vibe. Yeah.
But it hasn't got the characters. I said the other way around though.
Yeah, I know.
So it's the tone of one, but the characters of the other, and vice versa. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly sick of hearing about canon. One overhyped trash video that was. Canon's important. Canon was built and, you know, cared about for years and years. And without it, there's no point in making a show, because it's just make a new show called Star Journey.
Shooters.
There you go. Star Shooters The Journey. And then this season can be Star Shooters The Journey - Red Angels The Revenge of Spock. Spec. I don't know. No, it was good. I'm excited for the next episode a lot. I think this was a good end to the Tilly arc. That's the irony. This was a good end to that. Although I'm disappointed that we didn't get a conclusion to the Spore arc. I was assured in my own convictions that we would see the final nail in the coffin. They're still going to use it.
Considering the red orbs are 300 or 30,000 light years apart from each other, I think they might have to.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Which I don't want to see, because they've been talking about closing it for the past few episodes now. So.
Well, that's the thing. It's hurting these creatures. Now they've actually met the creatures, both in a bad way of hurting them and, you know, meeting the other lady. So hopefully we'll get next episode. It'll start. And they'll say,
well,
so we can't spore anymore. It's killing this world, which we were just in and we dealt with, and we got, you know, we made this treaty in a sense with them, and they sent back Culber. They sent him back. Like, they didn't kill him, so they did a peace offering. They
need to get the people in the mycelial network to build a highway that the Discovery can like roll on and not damage anything. That's what they need to do. Sateras puts in €2. Did you watch the Star Trek Prime Deception from me?
No.
Prime Deception. No.
Oh, I have.
Have you?
Oh, I mean, is that today's one or is that the other one?
I'm not sure what it's referring to.
Midnight's Edge, ME.
Oh.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen today's one yet.
I haven't watched it, no.
So yeah, guys, any questions? I guess we'll be on for like 5 more minutes. If you have any, 317 people, amazing. What a wonderful chat. You guys have been absolutely incredible. Really helped the channel.
2.5 hours. That's awesome.
Honestly, guys, it is about, if you guys, we bounce off you. We really do. And we both started caffeine, so we're both caffeinated up, to be fair. Yeah, and we've got some episodes coming out of the next of this episode for a few things we talked about. But yeah, I'm excited for the next episode. And we still don't know where Spock is or what he's doing. I hope there's this really anticlimactic thing of him. He's just been in like the Section 31 jail the whole time. And everyone's been playing everyone.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know.
Any questions, guys? Any questions?
And Baba Ganoush, yes, I do say that because I know what the video is about. Doesn't mean I have to watch it. So.
We get enough comments about it, so.
Oh, yeah. And when I get asked about it 15 times a day, I know what it's about, so.
And please clarify, is that real 5 minutes on screen or 5 TV show minutes that we're still going to be here? I think 5 real. But we have four likes left. All we need is 4 more likes until we have 250, and you guys know that 250 is the magic number.
4 likes and Cap takes off his shirt. Nope, I don't think so.
$400 and you would.
Well, they've got 500 rubles, just as you said that. I don't actually like Orville versus Discovery, just like DS9 versus Babylon 5. Why not both? I'm just really confused about what is really different about Orville's spirit. Yeah. I do enjoy them both as well, and I'm kind of getting sick of having to compare things. But whatever.
I think Orville knows what it is better. Like it's just trying to be what it wants to be. It's had a consistent
vision from the beginning.
Discovery's had constant basically every 6 months it's changed in some big way. Season 2 is radically different from Season 1. It was definitely not intentional. I will say DS9 vs B5 is such an, because both those shows were incredible at a certain point. You know, like Babylon 5 seasons 3 to 4 are just better than any of season DS9, but DS9 has more averagely strong.
We hit 260
seasons.
likes.
Yes, thank you all, and we'll be on for 2 more minutes. Last super chat then. Who wants to be the last epic super chat of this tremendous stream? Are you doing family plans this weekend, aren't you, Stuart?
Yeah, there's a few things going on this weekend, so.
I'm doing a Valentine's weekend with the other half. We're going to see a film, probably. I've got well, she's asleep, I could probably say it. I've got some charms, because she has charm bracelets.
Nice, nice.
I said, which I was like, well, that's the thing you can always get wrong. So I worked out 8. I went through 32 pages on this website. I found 8 I really liked, I thought she would like. And I showed her 8 and said, which one do you want? But, like, number them.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, okay, I'm buying you 2. She's like, what? So I got a sense of what she liked and didn't like.
I'm going to buy you 2 random numbers.
Yeah.
I've already picked them out of a hat. So number 5 and 3. That's it. That's what you get.
Yep. And then
Oh, we got 275 likes now. Oh, no, not yet. Can we get 275?
And then I also, because we're doing a real present and a fun present, and my fun present to her is a colouring book. She likes doing, like, adult colouring in the sense of, like, complicated patterns with lots of colours. She likes making, like, pretty, not like to the way they think you're going to do it. So, like, if it's a flower, she'll use no green and use, like, purples and blacks and reds and, stuff you wouldn't necessarily expect to see.
Damon Nightmare puts in £2. Why doesn't Discovery have the full Trek license? That's a whole video on itself.
Because it's not allowed to.
Yes.
Sounds girlfriend sounds expensive. I'm just a nice guy that, I don't know.
It's funny, I ordered flowers for
Sylvia. How was your Valentine's Day?
It was good. I ordered flowers for her on Tuesday. I don't do cut flowers. I usually get her something that's growing. So I got her a small basket full of different bulbs, perennials that'll come up every year. So in the spring, we can plant them in the garden and they'll come back. So it's not something that's dead, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be delivered on Valentine's Day. So I ordered it on the morning of the 12th. She had it by the afternoon of the 12th. So I was like, sorry it came early, whatever. So when I also bought her some other stuff because I was surprised her. Got her some chocolates and stuff that I put in her truck so that she'd see it when she took off for work in the morning on Valentine's Day. I snuck it in there the night before with a little note that said, love you very much. Very sorry that the flowers came early. I promise that I won't. So the flowers being delivered early was the perfect setup for a perfectly romantic, very Stuart-like card. And she got a huge kick out of it, and people at her office thought it was hilarious. So
that is all your master plan.
No, but it worked out nicely. Because as I was writing the thing, it's like, sorry they came early, and it's like, oh, I can't turn this down. Promise I won't. And I won't tell you if I deliver on that promise, but nobody cares.
Stuart never lets a thingy down. Oh dear.
Oh, 150 rubles. Apparently Les Moons really hated Star Trek. So many kicks in the groin. Yep. And I'm glad he's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very glad indeed. It's a weird time for Star Trek. It really is. This is not the Star Trek any of us wanted, or asked for, or would choose to continue.
But is it the one we deserve?
No. But is it one that can become good?
I think it can. I think it can.
It's. See, if I was given the reins tomorrow, and I'm not the sort of man that would actually erase because that's so disrespectful to everyone involved, even if they haven't been necessarily respectful so far. I would have at the end of the season, Discovery gets refitted, like the Enterprise, and they remove the inner holes in the saucer. They shorten down the nacelles and give them they keep only the middle bit, which is the ball, a middle basard, and make actually a single normal nacelle. And they get 2 easy changes. They also make the paint scheme half more grey. They give everyone TOS uniforms by the end. Easy. In the refit, they also shrink the bridge, and they make the captain's they make the conference room right next to it. Or they make some sort of cool specialist room right outside. That's the reason. Or an outer ring corridor for some reason. Don't know why, but make the bridge 25% smaller. And then make the view screen both as a door. It's like a metal sheet that goes, and just those several fixes would make it much more, whatever. And also make the blue L cars, add some reds, yellows, greens, purples. Random buttons all over the place in the displays, just other primary colours to show we're inching towards at least the vibe, not necessarily aesthetic, but the vibe. Little things would go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, bye. We're gonna go a long way.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Are we done?
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you again soon. Enjoy our videos. Enjoy tomorrow's video. We've got an originals, I think. And then Sunday we've got a video. And then we'll see you on Tuesday and Wednesday.
And check out our other videos today, the review of the space stock from Eagle Moss and the Megabox Enterprise build. Check them out.
Exciting. Bye, everyone. We love you. Bye.
Bye.